and welcome to another fantastic sunset safari. How great is it that we're able to start our afternoon off with an entire family of warthogs? My name is Taylor, and on camera with me today is Sebastian. And it's been pretty cold and miserable most of the day, but it seems as though the clouds have finally started to break apart and the sun is poking through, so maybe we'll end off the afternoon with a sunset. But, well, without further ado, should we have another look at these warthogs? They're one of my favorite animals. There's such great characters out here in the bush, and maybe it's your first time seeing warthogs, and you can hashtag Safari Live on Twitter if you have any questions for us, because this is live, this is happening right now, brought to you from the middle of the Sabi Sand Wildtuin, which is open to the Greater Kruger National Park. And it isn't just me out here today. Byron and Craig are on the other car. Unfortunately, Mara won't be joining us today. They're practicing, they've got all their rehearsals. Remember, we have TV shows every weekend. It's very exciting, so don't forget to tune into those as well. And it seems as though we've got one warthog at the back that just can't get enough of the tasty brown grass. Can't imagine that would be very delicious, but when that's all that's out there, I suppose you've got to take what you can get. But what I'm really excited for, and it's the reason why we haven't moved just yet, is that we're sitting at Twin Dams, and the warthogs, you can see they're picking up the pace now. They look very excited. I'm hoping that they're going to go down and have a wallow. Look at them go. Go, pigs! Okay, now we can move. Now, the reason why I didn't want to move straight away is because I didn't want to scare them. Warthogs can sometimes be a little bit on the sensitive side, and they are quite wary of us being quite low down on the food chain. But they've started making their way in, and they've done exactly what I was hoping they was going to do. So we're going to quickly try and reproduce. No, we're not going to try and reproduce. We are going to reposition the other one. That was terrible. I'm going to send you across to Byron so you can also say hello.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Byron, and on camera with me this afternoon is Batman. Now, I have decided to come and see if we can't find that female leopard with a youngster that had the kill for the last day up in this beautiful big jackalberry behind me. And I don't see any remains of the kill up in the tree. So I know they were just about finishing up this morning. So chances are they probably finished it and moved off. But let's have a look. I'm going to have a look around here. I've just arrived, so there's a chance that these leopards are possibly still around here. I'm going to check very, very carefully. I really hope they are. I really hope they are. I was hoping to spend the afternoon with some leopards. It's a nice cool afternoon, a little bit overcast, a little bit cloudy, and that might work in our favor, because if the leopards are around, with it being so cool, the chances are they could potentially be lying out in the open. But I do not see any sign of a leopard at the moment. Well, that's not good. We'll double check this area very, very carefully and make sure we don't miss anything. Jeff, you say maybe they're taking a nap somewhere. Very possible indeed. I wouldn't be surprised if they are lying down in this drainage line somewhere. But like I said, the chances are they could also have moved off. Often what happens with these leopards, or predators in general, when they are feeding or when they finish the carcass, once they finish the carcass, they do get very thirsty. So they'll go and look for water. So there's a good possibility that these leopards decided to move off and go look for some water. So we might try and have a look around for the nearest water. Now, the nearest water from here would actually be Buffelshoek Dam. But I'm sure if those leopards did, we would have been notified or seen it on the dam cam. Sure, and this grass at the moment, with it being slightly longer, it's quite easy for these leopards to disappear and camouflage themselves in this type of terrain. Alright, well, I'm going to have a look around here and see if we can't find these leopards. But speaking of water, Taylor is now at a waterhole.
We are indeed at a waterhole, and I think it's going to be one of those drives where I'm severely tongue-tied. Now, the warthogs actually didn't go and wallow at all at that little pan. I was quite surprised because we know the elephants really enjoy clean water, and they typically will go to pumped pans or even just splash around in some dirty water, try and find the clean stuff, or even better, go and dig straight from the mulwati. Now, the pigs have gone all the way around, across the dam wall, and they're just popping out now to my right. And I'm hoping that they're going to come down and have a drink, because we've been lucky over the past few weeks catching warthogs come down for a drink, have a little wallow. But it's not often that you get to see something like that. Now, that big sow that's just in front, you can see she obviously slid into the mud. Her legs are covered in mud. Or at one point they were at least covered in mud. And she's quite sort of cautious. Now, she walks, she stops, she listens, she tries to pick up a scent. But remember, warthogs' eyesight is not the greatest sense, so they need to be very careful, and especially around a watering hole at this time of the year. Everything's starting to dry up. The animals are going to be spending more and more time around these watering holes. And of course, you know what that means. The predators eventually start to pick up on that, and well, we've got lots and lots of young cats at the moment, particularly leopards. And so for them, hanging around a spot like this could mean an easy meal. And she's picked up the pace now. She obviously doesn't feel too comfortable, but the rest of the family don't seem to mind at all. They're just casually sort of walking, following her lead. There they go. And I think they're trying to find the easiest spot to come down and drink. Now, hello, Declan. You're wondering if warthogs are in fact related to pigs. They are indeed. So bush pigs, warthogs, wild boars, they're all in the same family. So yes, they are indeed. Obviously, they're just all slightly different in terms of size. See, look at them now, they're running. Warthogs are quite big, though. Not as large as a domestic pig. Much smaller than that. Just watching them and making sure. I'm also scanning the surroundings to see if there isn't maybe a leopard or something trying to stalk up towards them. We know that this is the favorite area of Shongile and Hosana, particularly Hosana. But it seems all sort of safe and sound just for the moment. I haven't heard any birds or squirrels alarming, and they seem to be a lot more relaxed now. Where's our crocodile when we need them? Would be nice to have Vlad or Boris back in Twin Dams again. I think it would be great, especially with a sighting like this. We saw them showing interest in the royal family as Karula was teaching her youngsters valuable lessons about how dangerous crocodiles are. And I wonder if the two sows here would show the same thing, or maybe they would be a little bit more sort of complacent at the water's edge, because a little piglet, I'm sure, would go down as a nice snack for a crocodile. Now, if you have been following and watching all the Facebook Lives that are coming out of the Mara Triangle in Kenya with the rest of the Safari Live team, you'll notice that, of course, the crocodiles there, they're snatching up everything that they can get, from zebra to wildebeest to Thompson's gazelle, topi, all these different types of animals. And we don't get to see that type of thing. It doesn't really happen down here in South Africa. Look at those two little ones nudging each other now, having a little play. Oh, that's quite sweet, isn't it? It's important that, of course, they also push each other around. Now, there's lots and lots of new viewers joining us all the time, so I'd just like to take a moment to welcome Jacob. Hello. It's great to hear from you, and you have a question about these warthogs. You're wondering how big can they get? Well, typically in here we've got a family sort of structure. We've got the girls. Some of these these sub-adult warthogs might be males as well. But the sows, so the females, will typically not get more than about, I'd say, around 60 kilos or so. That's even quite a big female. But the males can weigh well up to 80 kilograms. And I've seen some rather large warthogs too that I reckon could probably weigh closer towards 100. So don't let them fool you just because they are a pig. They are exceptionally dangerous. They're armed with tusks. The males typically get much bigger tusks. And another predatory defense is, of course, those white tufts of hair that you can see on the side of their faces. Now, from a distance, if they were to stop and turn back at us, maybe they'll be kind enough at some point. We'll see if we can go around. Looking at them from a distance, they actually look like they are armed with tusks, even though those little ones haven't even, just starting to develop them. Let's go around and see if we can get them again, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. But they are razor sharp, especially those bottom tusks, like steak knives. I think if we go along this road over here, we should get another view. I don't think they're going to stay out in the open for too long. It's quite vulnerable, especially at the water's edge like this. They might move towards these grassy areas and try and find a nice spot to do a bit more grazing before the sun goes down. And that's something that the sun does do quickly at this time of the year. Within a blink of an eye, it's dark. Warthogs have already started staring at us, and it's a bit strange that they all of a sudden become panicked by our presence, even though they haven't worried about us once since we've been here. So I'll try and see if we can get a view. Luckily for us, the grass is not particularly tall here, so we might be able to see still straight into the bushes. Here you go. They're actually walking on an animal pathway, which you can see clearly at the moment, all that white sand. And Ali was talking about it the other day, how most animal pathways lead to water. Sure, we are filled with new viewers today. Alok, who is another one, welcome. I look forward to hearing more questions from you, wondering, do they live in a burrow? They do indeed. They typically will utilize termite mounds. So there's another animal out here called an aardvark, or an ant bear. No, earth pig, not an ant bear. Earth pig is the one that I wanted to tell you about. That's a direct translation from Afrikaans to English. And they look almost pig-like, got a big snout, but they've got very powerful digging claws. And they dig into the termite mounds, and normally for feeding, but then they also utilize those burrows as holes. And typically aardvark and warthog have a really nice relationship. They share these burrows. Aardvark being nocturnal creatures, warthogs typically being out during the day. So the warthogs will use them during the day when they're not around, and the warthogs will go in once the aardvarks come out. But there's so many different burrows out here, and of course the warthog is much larger, so they need to widen it. They'll dig. They're very good diggers, warthogs. But it doesn't have to just be a termite mound. It can be something else. It could be a natural cavity. They'll use those, but in this area they're typically using the termite mounds. But they're gone now. Bye, pigs. What a great warthog sighting. I think that's a fantastic way to start the drive. Now, obviously, we've found warthogs. Hopefully we're going to find something even bigger, and that's also great. Maybe some elephants. That's going to be my goal this afternoon. But Byron's driving around. I know he was heading to the closest watering source to see if he could find Tundi and Tamba. Let's go across to him and see if he's got any tracks.
Oh no, we haven't had any luck yet. No tracks. I just wanted to jump off here quickly. But it's sometimes a bit difficult to see down into these drainage lines if you're driving around. So I do want to just have a little look here. Now it's not ideal to be walking around if there is a potential female leopard here with the youngsters, but Tamba is quite old already, but Tundi, this female Tundi, is known to be a little bit aggressive sometimes towards vehicles, but I don't think they are here. I drove around at the bottom. I just wanted to have a look down into this little thicket, but from up above here we're probably a bit safer. Again, you just always be cautious, but I don't see any tracks. One of the other vehicles came and had a look around here too. Yeah, it looks like they've definitely moved off. So we'll try and see. I'm just trying to think where they would have gone though. I have absolutely no idea which direction they would have chosen. I tried to have a look to see if I could see some tracks. We'll double check around and see if we can't find any. Luckily we did have 2 very nice days of viewing. Well, I'll say 2 days. Yesterday and this morning. Just make sure I don't hit this big tree behind us. So, as I was saying though, with leopards, once they finish their kill, they will generally try and move on and go and look for water and probably find another little place to rest. It's not quite warm this afternoon. it's a bit cooler than it has been the last few days. But we do know that leopards will move around during the day. Some people don't. Yeah, so it's only 23 degrees Celsius, so about 73 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's much cooler than the afternoons we have had. And the thing is, leopards do move around during the day, which a lot of people don't know. And these leopards will probably, or would have, gone and headed out to this area looking for some water. But I'm not sure which direction, unless they decided to go down into the drainage line behind us or off to our right. But we'll have a good look and see. You never know, they might pop up. Otherwise, we'll come back into this area a little bit later. And if they are still around, maybe there's a chance that we get to see them. James, now you're asking about the rain that we had this morning, and we had a lovely little bit of rain, not much though, not much, but it was still nice to hear some rain, and we'll have a little bit of rain. I heard it from the comfort of my room while Tristan and Ali were out this morning. But James, no, after that little drizzle that we had, no more rain. It then stopped and hasn't rained again, and I don't think it's going to rain again. Just checking all these termite mounds very carefully. We do know that sometimes these leopards like to lie on termite mounds. Leopards do that because it gives them a nice vantage point to have a look and scan around in the area. I still haven't seen any tracks though. It's actually a bit difficult when you are driving around and you're scanning in the bush to try and look for tracks. I'm not sure. I'm sure they're in one of these drainage lines. I don't think they would have moved too far, but you never know. You never know. So maybe they pop out somewhere a little bit later. We'll definitely keep our eyes open, and also we'll try and listen out for any alarm calls. Maybe some monkeys or impala. So anything like that could potentially pop up and alarm call and help us find these leopards. Anyway, we'll see. I'm going to check around this area very carefully. Maybe we get a sign of where they went. Taylor's still out looking for, I think, elephant now. Hopefully she finds some.
Hopefully we will. I think we're going to have a Warthog drive, in fact. Let me just shuffle around in my seat. I did just see a big boar run across the road, so I wonder if it's not my favorite Warthog, who lives around here and has no hair on the end of his tail. That's how I identified him. But anyways, we've stopped here, and the reason why I wanted to stop here today is obviously for the last few days, and they still are, burning in the Sabi Sands and the Kruger National Park, sort of just getting rid of all this excess vegetation, making sure the fire breaks are burnt so that if we do have any big fires coming through, it's very dry at the moment. The vegetation will catch alight very, very quickly. And it's important that we do this. But now, as we watch this log still smouldering, that little bit of a spit we had this morning, I don't know if you can really call it a drizzle. Anyways, it was great. Now, I'm not particularly happy about it, I'm going to be honest, because the more rain we keep having, the less chances we have of the buffalo coming here. But now, maybe, because we've burnt here, grass doesn't need much water to grow. It literally needs a couple of mils, 2 or 3 mils, and you'll start to see regrowth. So maybe that will encourage the animals to come into this area. But we'll have to see. But I'd just like to see the buffalo come back. Of course, I miss them, because with buffalo comes the lions. And the lions, I think, have to be my favorite of the big cats. Love leopards, of course. Who doesn't? They're such beautiful animals. But there's just something about lions that I absolutely love. Now, this wasn't a great area that was burnt. There wasn't really much here. It's just taken care of some of it. Lots of sort of sandy patches now in between, but that will leave space for all lush new vegetation to come through. And again, For those of you who have only just started watching us, you'll be so shocked as the changes when we get to summer again. We get our first rains. I promise you, after a couple of weeks, it turns bright green. Flowers everywhere, leaves on all the trees, grass all beautiful and starting to push through, and these areas will almost look like golf courses. I love to watch the changes on quarantine. The big open plains just behind our camp, that's one of my favorite things to do. Now let's see if we can find this warthog again. He did just run up across the road in front of us. We might catch him. Now, a lot you're wondering, what do the animals eat? I think that was the question. What do we eat, as in us as guides? Everything. We're very lucky. It may look quite barren out here, but trust me, there's civilization at the lodges, and we get food delivered to us on a regular basis. I saw a family of warthogs run across the road, but I'm still just watching here just to make sure that boar isn't around, because he's quite funny. We'll see if we can get them. So, a lot, yes. We eat everything that you would eat at home. We have steaks, we have salad. There they are. They don't seem to be as relaxed as the ones we saw earlier. There's a couple of them. We eat vegetables. They actually grow in the local communities, and we try and get as much of our fresh produce as we can from the local community, so they deliver to us once a week. We actually have a truck that comes filled with food. Everyone is always very excited on a Wednesday, mainly because they bring cheese and chocolate and coffee. Those are the staple, or the three main food groups in camp that everybody eats and drinks, which is quite great. Of course, warthogs don't eat any of those things. They're quite happy with just feeding on grass. Now, looking at that warthog, that's not my friend. You can quite clearly see he's a young boar. He's not particularly old at all. Whether he'd even be mating with females, I'm not so sure. There's definitely some bigger, stronger, more experienced boars out here that would chase him out. But he doesn't have to worry about that at the moment. They're not breeding right now. And he doesn't seem to mind us either. Bottom up in the air, that can only mean one thing: munching on grass. Right, let's search. He loves it around here, and I don't think that boar would allow that youngster to sneak in and potentially sort of steal some females, or maybe he's just experienced and he knows there's no point hanging around them at the moment. Doesn't need to worry about breeding just yet. We actually saw them quite frisky a few weeks ago, or actually 2 months ago now. Just trying to find a gap. They're just over there, but it's just a couple of trees in our way. There they are again. See, so they're clever. So this will be a great opportunity now for us to keep checking these areas, these fire breaks, the boundaries, and hopefully we'll start to see the grass coming through. And I think we're definitely going to find animals. We'll find zebras, the kudu will even come through to eat the new shoots of grass. Waterbuck will most certainly be there. The warthogs seem to be a little bit too keen and too early. You're going to have to wait a bit. You might be able to hear a bit of commotion too. There are rollers fighting with squirrels. Did you hear that, Seb? Mm-hmm. Now, it was really interesting. I don't know if you heard that quack, 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 but in those marulas, there are about 3 or 4 lilac-breasted rollers, and one actually tried to chase a squirrel from the tree. It was really funny. Now, remember, a breeding season is starting for a lot of the birds now, so we are starting to see lots and lots of courtship. So these could be the males now disputing amongst one another. They're being very vocal. Yes, look at them there. They're flying past each other. Almost looks like they're trying to size each other up from the sky. And they do the most amazing display. And it looks like they're climbing. They're getting height. Oh, there we go. One's going to do it. Woo! Look at that go. No, you were on it. That was so cool. Did you see that, how it came down? The other one's going to do it now too. So that's it. These boys are having a standoff at the moment. There's actually lots of them. There's about, now I can see, there were 2 that were flying and there were another 3 on the marulas. It's very difficult to try and capture this. They're going in. So after they're going up, behaving like rollers do, that's where they get the name from, the way that they sort of roll down to the ground. It's very pretty. Now they're going to size each other up. This is really amazing. This is one thing that I look forward to every single year, is watching the various courtship processes go on with the different birds, and then also watching the males challenge each other for the best females. Of course, that one looks like it may have been hit. You see there's got a feather that's come loose, and that's also quite common. You'll see that. But we don't know where to look. There's just birds flying everywhere. Now, Queen Dark, who's also a new viewer, you said that this is so amazing. Oh, that's great. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Now, the one little roller there looks like it's got a fly or something in between its beak. Look at this. Maybe he's trying to court. Maybe it's a female that's just sitting to his right, and he's bragging to the rest of the fellas now. He's done a dance. He's caught some food and lilac-breasted rollers. Typically, one of the main courtship things is obviously once they've battled it out between a couple of other males, they'll present the female with a gift, try and entice her. Not just one, but many gifts. And I think this is what's going to happen now. So if we're patient enough, we might be very lucky and actually witness something like that. See, he's not interested in eating it just yet, sort of just waving it around, saying, look what I've got for you. Oh. What happened there? You can see them all there. That's very interesting. It's all happening on this marula tree this afternoon. Love is in the air.
Especially this afternoon.
Yeah, yes, as Seb says, especially this afternoon. They get quite aggressive, and just when you think they're going to stop, then they sort of launch off of the branches and head for the sky. Whoop. Bit of conflict. Isn't this great? See, it's not always about the leopards and the lions. Are you hearing what I'm hearing?
Yes, is it baboons barking? Oh.
I think so. I don't know what that is. I'm going to take my earpiece out. Sorry, Megan. I just want to listen to something in the bush. I think we need to go there, Seb.
Yeah.
Right. As wonderful and as much as I love birds, there's a distress call. There's something's happening in Chitwa, or just on the edge here of Torchwood. I don't quite know what it is. I can't really hear. I can't hear if it's actually baboons. I haven't got a clue what's making that noise, but it's intrigued me. Something is saying, Taylor, go and have a look what's going on over there. So a little bit of a way away. So I'm going to send you across to Byron while I go and do a bit of investigating.
Well, it looks like Taylor's had all the luck so far. We haven't found anything. Oh dear, no sign of where those leopards went, but like I said, we'll head back into that area a little bit later. But we'll see what else we can find. Maybe we're lucky and we bump into some elephant, or who knows, anything really. Just trying to listen to the radio. I hear there's some guards out. Rosie, good afternoon to you. You asked, is there a pride of lions here? Yes, Rosie, they actually, well, there are a number of prides of lions throughout the greater Kruger, which we are situated in. In this area, we actually have, we've got about 2 prides that are dominant in this area, that have territory in this area. One pride known as the Nkuhuma pride, and the other pride known as the Styx pride. Now, the Nkuhuma pride is predominantly in our area, and then the territory extends quite far north, and then the Styx pride predominantly in the south. We've also got a coalition of males, of 4 males, known as the Birmingham males. They patrol this entire territory. They're dominant here at the moment, so there aren't any other big males that come into this area, Rosie. So there are quite a few lions around, and hopefully we'll be able to show them to you at some point. So keep watching Safari Live, and hopefully you'll see some of them. Bless you, Craig. Now, don't forget, everyone, again, just a reminder, we are live, so send us your questions, send us your comments. And you can do so via Twitter at #SafariLive, and we'll try and get through as many of your questions as possible. The ladies in the final control will give them to us. Bobby, you asked, what do we do when we're not out on drive? Well, Bobby, the team's got different roles really. So the ladies in the final control, they do a lot of editing on short little clips from the show. They try to pick out certain sections that we'll use for social media. The cameramen all edit and post and put all the video footage that they've recorded, if anything that can be used for a story, they'll put that onto a system. I mean, Tristan's got a few roles that he needs to fill. It all depends, you know. I still have my business that I run, so the guiding that I do, so I'll do some of that. Some of us try and exercise during the day in between drives. We occasionally get an hour or two just to relax a bit, maybe read or watch a movie or something, or a series. There's some Game of Thrones fans here, so I'll probably watch the new Game of Thrones. Actually, Megan in the final control looks identical to Arya Stark. Those of you who are Game of Thrones fans, she definitely, it's scary, it's uncanny, the resemblance, and she's now feeling very embarrassed, and I can actually picture Megan going bright red as I'm speaking about it. But she does, she looks just like Arya Stark. All right, Craig, we need to find some animals. This is not good. This is not a good start at all. Craig, man of many words, agrees with me. But it is a lovely afternoon, because it is a bit cooler, so it's a nice afternoon out. I suppose even if we don't really see anything, it's nice to drive around, and this is what a safari is all about. I always say this, but we've been fortunate the last week or so, and especially with the Mara, there's so much going on. There's so much going on at the crossings, and with all the predators around. But we've been lucky. We've had wild dog, and we've had leopards. Anyway, well, we'll see what we can find. Sounds like Taylor's on a roll this afternoon. She found those big grey animals she was looking for.
We have indeed. We've got a massive herd of elephants who seem to be moving quite quickly. Hello guys, hello, relax. Now I wonder if those strange noises we weren't hearing when we were with the rollers were from the elephants. There are lots of bulls here. Lots of troublemakers. Hello girl, it's okay. And I wonder if they haven't been annoying the females. I'm just gonna... Which way do you want to go? I'm gonna roll forward. Sorry, Seb. Just want to give this one cow that was rumbling a panic. Oh, you're right. Did you almost fall out the car? That would have been terrible. Oh, sorry, yes, the camera almost fell off of the tripod. That would have been a disaster. But luckily, crisis averted. Well done, Seb. Ninja reflexes. Something has definitely upset these Ellies. You can see they're not happy. And the matriarch of this herd, she's quite a big cow. She seems to be quite stressed as well. It's this one just walking behind us. You can see we'll show her, she's going to disappear, but she's secreting liquid from her temporal gland. She was rumbling quite loudly. She's telling the herd to keep moving. So once the guests are out of the lodge at Chitwa, we're going to go and investigate around there, because I suspect either it was the elephant bulls that have upset this breeding herd like this, or there's something else going on down at the dam that we just don't know about. Now, even though elephants are the real kings of the jungle, or the king of the savanna and bush, it's not the lions, because size really does matter out here. Something like lions, leopards, wild dogs, even hyenas to an extent, could upset a breeding herd. There are lots of young calves in and amongst this herd too, and they're definitely vulnerable to predation, though you have to be quite brave to want to challenge these big cows, and even the young bulls will get involved as well if there's any trouble. Now, unfortunately, they have gone onto Torchwood, so we're just going to have to view them from a distance. But maybe there's a second wind coming from a Chitwa dam. But luckily for us, one cow has stopped, and you might be able to see a bit of dust. She's having a sand bath at the moment. She's found herself a nice spot. They must have had a drink of water. Didn't look like they were splashing around in it, though. I didn't actually see any water on their bodies at all. They definitely ran across. Now, that wasn't even the first group. There was another group of elephants too, just before that, but unfortunately it was too close to the Mulwanini, and there's gremlins in there, so we can't unfortunately get signal down that point, and off they go. But I'd still like to go and investigate around these areas and see what's actually happened. But no, there they go. Right, maybe we'll go back. Thank you, elephants, that was nice. Megan, I'm so sorry, I cannot... Okay, I think...
Oh, no, that's wonderful that Taylor got to see those elephants. Now, we've had fresh baboon tracks around here, heading along the road. Now, we haven't seen baboon for quite some time. But you can see they've been running along the road. Maybe they're around here somewhere. Don't see anything just yet. Oh, hang on. There we go. Craig, baboons, quickly! They're running away from us, everyone, but there they are. Straight ahead down the road. There they go. Thank you, Craig. Let's see if we can catch up to them. Now, the baboons generally are a little shy of the vehicles. They do move away quite quickly, but that's nice. At least we found some baboons, everyone. Sure, I was starting to panic there for a second. Like I always say, it's too soon to panic. Let's see. So these baboons, during the day, they'll move around foraging for food, and then later this afternoon, they'll head down. Oh, there's a whole troop here, everyone. There's a whole troop here. Hold on. Let's try getting into a position where we can see them. There we go. We might be able to see a few of them moving through the bush. Now it looks like quite a large troop. So as I was saying, they'd forage during the day, moving around like this. And then what they do is later this afternoon, they'll start heading down towards the drainage lines where there's some big trees, probably jackalberries in this area, most likely big jackalberries, and that gives them a nice bit of cover and a big tree for them to then sleep in for the night, and then early tomorrow morning they'll start moving around again and foraging for food. You can see quite a few of them moving through this area. Let's see if we can catch up to a few of them. Now, Dora, you said you're so excited to see the baboons. That's wonderful. I know a lot of people do enjoy seeing these primates, whether it be the baboons or the vervet monkeys, and it is nice to see them. They are quite funny to watch at times, especially the monkeys, the baboons too. There's always some behavior going on, some interesting behavior. Now, it's difficult to see them, everyone. There we go. It's because it's quite thick and they're moving through the thicket at the moment. But there are quite a few around here. You see, every now and then you'll catch a glimpse of one or two moving around, some chasing each other. Now, the one thing, though, is the baboons are incredibly alert. So they will warn each other if there's any potential danger or threat. So any predators around, their eyesight is amazing. Now, these baboons walking around like this on the ground, and they haven't made a single sound. I doubt that there is any predator in this area, because if there was, these baboons would have seen it. And their eyesight is really phenomenal. And they've got this incredible bark as an alarm call. Bow! Bow! It's the alarm call that the baboon give. And if there are any predators, they'll alarm call, and the whole troop then knows that there's potential danger around, and then they need to be careful. I'm just having a look. Oh, there we go. There's actually a view of one sitting out in the open. There we go. Craig, how's that? Is that okay? See, they're quite shy. They don't like to be seen. Just as we see one out in the open, then they move again. Well, that was a nice surprise, just to catch a glimpse of some baboons, and we'll leave them and let them forage. At least we know the chances of a predator being around here are highly unlikely at the moment, because these baboons are very relaxed, moving around on the ground. Now let's head back to Taylor. I wonder what her plan is now after leaving those elephant.
Well, we actually spotted a pair of crested barbets who looked like they were sort of designing their nest, or at least patching it up. So we'll go back to them in a moment. They disappeared. Hopefully they will come back. Now, I do want to just say a big warm welcome to Rocking Edu Tech Conference, who's joining us just for a short little while. It's great to have you. We look forward to hearing from some of you. Now, I don't want to go down to Chitwa Dam just yet. I don't think we're actually going to be able to. There's still some guests in camp. I did hear a bit of talking. Let me reverse just slightly. Then we're going to check this road here. Now, I actually saw Byron. Where Byron was, he was on Cheetah Cutline, and we had those same baboons just sort of moving around a little bit right near where those lilac-breasted rollers were sort of shouting about, which was quite nice. So I'm still trying to figure out what actually happened and what those noises were that we were hearing. It could have also been in Torchwood, and then unfortunately we can't drive in that area. It'll be very difficult then to find out what went in there, what disturbed whichever animal was making that distress call. But I know there's some guides going towards those elephants. Maybe we'll be in luck. Now I've got a tough time on my hands, because not only am I trying to listen out to what's going on, I'm also trying to check for tracks, and I also want to spot with my eye. But luckily Sebastian's very keen, and he loves to spot the animals. He normally spots them before I do, for any of the presenters do anyway, which is very, very helpful. It is a teamwork, you're quite right about that. Now, this is a great road, just because there's lots of massive animal pathways that come through here, obviously coming from the dam and going this way onto Agari Main again. So it's normally quite a busy road. Impala love it around here, lots of Waterbuck. I don't know why I'm speaking Afrikaans. I'm going to say Waterbuck. Kudu. Sometimes zebra, sometimes wildebeest, and then of course this is the area where the elephants have come from too. So we know that they like this area quite a bit. I'm just trying to do a quick scan from this side, see if there's anything here. No more elephants, so they've all gone. And I haven't seen anything yet that would have caused a massive disturbance, unless they're hiding well. But you know what I have seen that's massive? Is that waterbuck. Just sitting, relaxing, resting in and amongst the marulas. Now you might be able to see a big antenna, big tower That's, of course, the repeater system at Chitwa Dam. There's Chitwa Lodge, those thatched rooms. We'll have a look at them a little bit later, of course, when we position ourselves at the dam, if we're able to go down. Remember, we can only go down in front of the dam if there are no guests in camp. Guests come first. So we've got to give them their privacy. But this is a beautiful waterbuck, and he's been hanging around in this area for quite some time now. Must be a little bit worrying for him. He doesn't have his ladies. He does have one other friend, though, who's just sitting to the right, and he actually looks even bigger than the fellow we started looking at. Look at the size of his horns. Definitely the more mature bull of the two, so at least he's got another male around to help him keep a lookout for predators, but they look very relaxed. Now, it's a common mistake for guides to sort of say, and we've all been caught out. I'll tell you right now, we've all got stories where we've said, oh, these animals look very relaxed, there's no predators about. But remember, predators are designed for stealth and to hide away and to sneak up on their prey. So most of the time, they don't have any idea if those predators will be around. So they just relax now, but that's not to say that there's anything. Now, Ken, from the Rocking EduTech conference, you were wondering if there were any lions around. There possibly could be. Who knows? There's a massive area that these animals can move around on. It's 8.5 million acres of land, basically. And they'll move at night, they'll move during the day. Remember, it was quite cool today, so the big cats like to maneuver around and take opportunities of these overcast days. So it might well be. We'll keep an eye out, though. I haven't seen any lion tracks just yet. I did hear one of the guides say something about lions coming from the east onto Torchwood, so we better keep an eye out around here. Torchwood it's quite a big property, but these animals can move very, very quickly. Though these waterbuck are not doing a good example of showing how animals move, but it's also important out here to conserve your energy, because if you spent your entire day running around, you'd be exhausted, and you wouldn't want to be exhausted when a lion or a leopard came charging out of the bushes. You want to have as much energy sort of pent up as you possibly could to give you the best chance to get away. So that's very important. They're also ruminating too. They're also just digesting their food. But that's Chitwa Dam, and I look forward to going down there with all the crocodiles, the hippos. Maybe we're going to get some elephants swimming, especially they're starting to warm up now. But it's just a little bit too early to head down there just yet. See all the knob thorns in flower, all some bush willows, leaves are just starting to turn yellow. It looks very peaceful down there at the moment. Haven't even heard a fish eagle call or seen too many ripples in the water just yet from the hippos, but I presume when we head down that way we'll find out where that pod is. There's quite a couple of different family groups. Now, Mriedel, you're wondering what is the function of the waterbuck's horns. It's very important out here to be able to protect yourself. Now, we as humans, we're quite hopeless in that sense. We don't have claws. We don't really have very sharp teeth. We don't have much to protect ourselves against lions and leopards. However, a waterbuck has got these beautiful big horns. And it might not seem like much, but a lion can easily get killed by a waterbuck if it gets in the wrong spot. And also, the main factor is waterbuck will compete for females. Just like with most species, the males are constantly competing for the females, and they will battle it out, and they will lock horns and push and shove each other around. And to be honest, waterbuck are up there with one of the most aggressive antelope, bushbuck and gemsbok following. And when they do have an argument about the ladies, this can actually end up in a fatality. They're very, very aggressive. I've actually seen waterbuck fights in water. That's what I wanted to finish that off before that sneeze rudely interrupted me. Right, well, before I sneeze again, it seems as though Byron's also managed to find some other animals. He's got one of the rarer ones, and ones we typically see at night.
We do indeed, everyone. I'm just keeping my voice down because this is such a wonderful sighting of a genet. Now, I found this genet the other day in this tree, and it seems like this is the home of the genet. And I'm so happy that we got to see it. They're usually very, very shy. And look at that beautiful hole that it's got itself into. And it spend the day there and then come out at night. They are generally nocturnal. Just another welcome to the Rocking EduTech Conference. Lovely to have you with us. Don't forget to send us your questions. Now, these genets, they look cat-like, but they're not actually related to cats at all. They're in another family called Viveridae. And it's wonderful to see this little one. I can't believe that it might actually be getting used to us slightly, because the first time we saw it, it heard us arrive and ran up into the center of this tree and hid away from us. But now it's sticking its face out every now and then, which is wonderful. And they are so cute. They really, really are wonderful little creatures. And as I said, it's lovely to see one now during the day, because they generally are nocturnal. So they only come out at night. But very, very, very cute. I'm so glad that's just made my afternoon. I was getting worried there for a second. We weren't finding too much. There we got the baboons. And let me show you a picture quickly of this little genet. Katie, good afternoon to you. You asked if I've ever felt in danger. No, Katie, not at all. We've been, a lot of us, well, especially the guides, been working in the bush for quite a long time. And no, there's no reason to feel in danger at all. We are very, very careful, obviously, while we are out in the bush, and we're very respectful of the animals, but there's no reason to feel in danger, and I haven't. Now, I just wanted to show you a picture of this genet. That's what the little genet looks like. Isn't that beautiful? We could see that face clearly earlier, with him looking at us through the hole. Very, very beautiful. Now we have small spotted genet and large spotted genet. Now I'm not too sure. It's difficult to see this one, but I think it's a large spotted genet. Bree, you asked, what is a genet's favorite food? Well, let's see what they say here. But the food, it's mainly insects. It's invertebrates, insects. And then they've also got sometimes rodents and reptiles. Bree too. They might eat that. Birds. I know genets will occasionally try and raid nests, maybe little birds. But they also eat fruits. Some fruit that they can find, probably like the marulas or jackalberries, anything like that. So they'll be feeding on a few of those quite a large variety of food in their diet. Let's see if it's still sitting there. Is it still there? It is still there. Hasn't moved yet. Just in there. It's a bit dark in that hole now. And there you can see the spots very clearly of the coat. Let's see if it sticks its head out again. Come on, have a look at us, please. Will it? No. But you can see it moving clearly in there. Have a look. There we go. There we go. There's the eye. Oh. Did you see how quickly it shot up into the tree? Chastity, you asked, is there only one genet in there, or is there family? I'm not sure, Chastity. I'm not sure. There could possibly be one or two more in there. I don't know. However, I think this genet is alone. I think this is one by itself. I don't think there are any others in here. But it looks like it's just moved off up into the tree, just a little bit high up. So it obviously is feeling a bit shy now. We've spent enough time with it. That was really great. I'm so happy we got to see its face. I decided to have a good look at us. That was a wonderful surprise, wasn't it? Now, we're going to carry on and see what else we can find. I'm feeling a lot happier and a lot more confident that we'll find something this afternoon, a lot more, hopefully. Now, let's head back to Taylor. She's still close to one of the dams, I think, and see if she's had any more luck.
Hopefully I will. I'm quite enjoying these little snippets that the animals keep giving us. Not necessarily long sightings, but enjoying them nonetheless. Now, I have a question, Megan. Do you know where Byron is going? Can you please ask him? I know he's not far from me. We're back at Twin Dams again, right where we started the show. We're just going to pop past it. I would like to go to Treehouse, but I know Byron's quite close, so if he's heading that way, then perhaps Sebastian and I will go and find the leopards that gave him the slip. So then we might head back towards central side too. So we'll just bumble along. We've got lots of different places that we can sort of head to. I don't think those leopards have gone too far though. Oh, okay, Byron's not heading to Treehouse Dam, says Megan, the director. What do you think, Seb? Oh. Okay, then we'll do okay, so we're going to swap. So then we'll let Byron continue searching for the leopards then. We'll go to Treehouse Dam. That shall be the plan then. We're just trying to organize everything, of course. But I wonder what's going to be at Treehouse Dam then. I wanted to go there in the beginning and then I got so sidetracked. I was listening to a song. I think I was singing Fergalicious or something ridiculous. And then yes, and then I thought, oh, we'll better go and find an animal to start with then. So luckily for us, we had the warthogs. But we aren't too far away from Treehouse Dam. A couple of roads. We're maybe about 6 minutes or so. It's not far at all. Maybe not even that much. I think I was a bit too generous there. And those elephants could change direction again too. They could end up crossing back this way, maybe cutting onto Mamba or Central, or maybe that's where we're going to find them tomorrow morning. Right, let's go on to Elephant Carcass. Lots of giraffe tracks around too, but no giraffe. Now, Neil, good day to you, sir. You're wondering what time do the animals typically come down to drink at the dams? It depends on the animal species, I suppose, and their proximity to the watering hole. So you get some animals, like impala and zebra, for example, that are water dependent, and even the waterbuck, those two big waterbuck we saw earlier, they're also water dependent animals. They don't go far from water. They typically won't move away for more than about 5 kilometers of a permanent water source, or so they say. Obviously they have to move when those water sources dry up to get somewhere else, so you know, there's exceptions to the rules. In winter, I find that the animals will come and drink during the middle of the day, whereas in the summer months, when it's exceptionally hot, you can remember the temperatures can get well over 100, you know, up to the high 30s, early 40 degrees Celsius. So they'll normally drink first thing in the morning, and then just before the sun sets too. You might get some nervous animals that will use the cover of darkness to come down and drink, say perhaps steenbok and duiker, but they don't have to drink all the time. They get a lot of their water from the plants and things that they are feeding on too. So it really does depend. I mean, a lion doesn't have to drink every single day either. They'll typically go and have a good drink after a big meal. But if there's water around and they're passing through, they might stop, have a little sip of water, and then carry on with their evening. Right, just quickly checking up here to see if we've got any birds or any interesting things that may be about this afternoon. I really enjoyed those rollers, so we will see if we can find some more rollers. We're still looking for the different nesting sites of birds. Always, that's on the card, so it's important to keep checking up. And the trees. Oh, that rain was definitely something quite interesting today. I didn't expect it. I thought I was actually imagining the sound. We have corrugated iron as roofs, and it's one of my favorite things. And I'll tell you a quick story, although there's no such thing as a quick story with me. Well, it will fill the time before we get to Treehouse Dam. Let's put it like that. My parents are Australian. My whole family is Australian, in fact, barring 2 of us, barring my younger brother and I. We were both born in South Africa. And anyways, my dad loves the sound of rain on a corrugated roof. So for most of our houses that my parents had built themselves, we always had corrugated iron on the roof. So I love it now as well. I love that sound, and it's the most beautiful pitter-patter. And I actually woke up this morning. I was up early and then I dozed off again. And I heard and I thought, no ways. I stepped outside and I thought, oh my goodness. And then it got so heavy, and I thought Tristan and Ali are probably racing back. So I got dressed in my outfit that, well, if Joan Rivers was still around and I was put on Fashion Police, I would have been in a lot of trouble. They would have had a lot to say about my outfit. Now, we're right here at Treehouse Dam, going to quickly pop onto the wall, very, very quickly, seeing as though I've made you listen to all my silly stories while I get you. Have a quick look. Maybe there's another family of warthogs. Perhaps there's a leopard waiting for us. Who knows what we're going to see, but we're going to drive onto the dam wall right now. Ah, Mr. and Mrs. Egyptian Goose. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Blacksmith Lapwing. How are your chicks doing? Well, maybe we'll find out in a moment. It's actually looking quiet. Now, straight away, I'm trying to spot the Blacksmith Lapwing chicks, but I can't see them, which is a little bit disappointing. It makes me a little bit sad, but then I know how cruel nature can be, and sometimes it doesn't allow for youngsters to survive. Oh no, I can see them. So Mr. and Mrs. Egyptian Goose haven't got any goslings at the moment. I actually don't know where they'd be nesting. I haven't seen any of their nests around here. But, Seb, if you look, see where all that elephant dung is? On the other side of the dam. More on this side, there's a small little bird running around. I haven't quite worked out from this distance, yes, at that dung exactly that you're at now, if it is a three-banded plover. No, it's not. It's one of the Blacksmith Lapwing chicks. How good is that? That's great to see. Now, they had three. At first it started off with one, and then the next afternoon we found a second one, and then we found a third one. Well, I've only seen one, but before I say anything, they could just be hiding around the corner. But it's quite interesting that the parents have actually flown off. I don't know where they've gone. It's not us that have disturbed them. We've seen them many times, and we've spent a lot of time around them with the vehicles, so they're not worried by us at all. Perhaps it's a type of defense technique. Maybe, as they fly away, the predators would think that, well, if the parents are flying away, maybe there's no youngsters at their side, which is a very clever tactic. You're doing a sterling job now, aren't you? Now, Fran, you say, what a fluffy bird. You are quite correct. They often call young chicks like this downies. So that's all that lovely fluffy feathers that you can see there. That's going to keep them nice and toasty during the cold winter nights and mornings that we get out here. And straight off the bat, straight out of the egg, they are sort of ready to go. Armed with their feathers. Might take them a few minutes just to find their feet. If you've ever watched little chickens hatch before, they're a bit wobbly, but they would have been very noisy, trying to get the attention of the adults. And now they're catching all the little insects. Hello, Dora, who's a new viewer. Wow, there's so many of you today. I'm so excited. And like I said, I hope that I keep hearing your questions. You've said, what an adorable little bird. They are so precious. But to me, being maybe a week and a half old, look at it. Have you ever? Keen eyesight, just like its adults, running around, searching for little insects that are either stuck on top of the water surface, or some of them live on the water surface. And that's what it's going after. It definitely hasn't sort of... Now, my words are escaping me today. It still needs to work on its technique, though. When you watch the adults, as they peck insects off the surface of the water, they're definitely a lot more gentle, delicate about it. This one is still dunking its entire head. It'll learn, though. I think it's doing a pretty good job. At a week and a half old, I can tell you I was not running around like this. I was doing far less. But I suppose when you're living out in the harsh world that in the wild can be, you need to be up and on your feet as quick as possible. You need to double in size. You need to eat as much as you can if you want to have the best chance of survival. But it seems as though there's an abundance of birds going down. I'll show you the other ones in a minute. We won't be able to see them, but there's also a family of crested francolin making their way down to drink. But maybe if we watch this little chick as it goes along the edge of the water and heads sort of to the western side of the dam, it may reveal its siblings. Maybe they're about. I'm still trying to spot them, but I haven't seen them just yet. Oh no, you know what? They were behind it. They're on the right now. They're between those two piles of elephant dung. So if you keep going along there, we should start to spot them. If you keep going. No, a little bit further around. They're there. I just saw them. I just saw two of them now. That's so weird. Oh, is it a look? Can you see what I'm seeing? You know the first pile of dung we looked at?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, just above it.
Yeah.
There we go. There's another one. So I've definitely seen 2 of them right now. I don't know where the third one is. This one's not too keen. It's a bit wobbly on its legs by the looks of it. But the ground is very unlevel there, and it doesn't look like it's grown into its legs and its feet just yet. Silly, go back to the water. You will find lots and lots of insects there. There are plenty. That's so funny. It looks like it's going to fall over its own feet. This bird should be called Taylor, because if you were following me around today, you would have seen how many times I tripped over things. I stubbed my toe on my camera box. I then let the bar on Wendy, on one of the bull bars, catch my leg, and I almost fell over. So I think we can call this one Taylor. Clumsy. Very, very clumsy. Accident prone, rather, should I say. Searching. So it's trying a different tactic. And again, this is what the adults do too. They don't necessarily always feed on the edge of the water. Sometimes they will move away. And if, there's an eagle or anything flying over, it's probably not a bad idea to be away from the water's edge because there's not much cover there. But as soon as you move away, you'll find shrubs, trees, all these types of things that will give you a bit of cover that you can duck underneath. And there's lots of raptors out here that will snatch this. Now, Lisa, you've made a comment and you said you cannot believe that their mom and dad aren't there watching them. And it is a tactic, actually, for a lot of parents out here in the bush. My parents, I think, tried that with me. No, I'm just teasing, they didn't. But the animals out here, of course, don't necessarily want to be associated with their young ones. Typically, predators will go towards the adults because normally, with the adults, will be the youngsters. But by doing this, they can also survey the area, constantly keep monitoring their territories. And normally what Blacksmith lapwings will do, and a lot of the other lapwings and plovers, is they sort of show this interesting behavior where they pretend that they've got broken wings and stuff to lure predators away. But that's typically when they've got nests. These little ones, again, they can fend for themselves. They probably can't fly just yet. I think that probably about, maybe 3 weeks or so. I'm trying to think at what age they'd be able to fly. They definitely don't have their flight feathers just yet. Maybe in a few weeks' time they'll be able to take off for the first time. Otherwise they're just relying on their legs and running away. But lions do it too. Lions stash their cubs in logs, in burrows, under trees. Leopards do exactly the same thing. Even waterbuck, kudu, Inala, bushbuck will drop their youngsters off, say stay, and hide them in the long grass while they feed in the nearby areas and then come back again. So it's a type of anti-predatory behavior really that's going on. Right, but we're going to start searching for some other things now and see what else the bush has got for us this afternoon. I'm going to send you across to Byron, who has also joined the birding game.
I have indeed. I thought we might as well try and do some birding this afternoon. It's always wonderful to do birding. And we've got a beautiful lilac-breasted roller and just nice light, although it's hiding behind some branches there. It would be wonderful if it actually flew for us, because you might get a lovely glimpse of that bright blue on the wings when it does fly. Oh, Roshni, you've asked me a question that I don't know the answer to. You've asked how many birds have I seen in the Sabi Sands so far. Sure. Roshni, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I would guess somewhere between 160 and maybe 200, somewhere around there, Roshni. I don't know. I actually don't even know what my bird list is on at the moment. It's terrible. I need to update it and have a look, and I'll try to do it in the next few days, and then I can let everybody know. But I can't remember. Not sure. Now, I enjoy birding very much. I do enjoy birding very much, but I wouldn't say I'm a twitcher. Now, the twitchers are people that will go and they will go into a specific area just to look for a bird that is found there. And I do enjoy the birding a lot, and if wherever I am, I'll do birding, but I won't necessarily fly across South Africa to go and see a bird that is spotted in Cape Town. One of my friends is like that. He loves his birding, and he'll travel all over just to go see a specific bird, a rare bird that's been found. But I do enjoy the birding. And also the nice thing with guiding in different areas, every area is different, and the bird life is different, so you get to see many different birds around. Let's see if we can find a few more now quickly while we're around this area. It's definitely been a bit quieter this afternoon, I think, well, for us at least. Seen some impala, saw a few kudu earlier that just moved down into a thicket. I think that was as Taylor got to Treehouse Dam. Alright, it sounds like Taylor's left Treehouse Dam. Maybe I'm going to try and continue to do some birding. Hopefully we find something. Let's go find out where Taylor's going now.
I have not got a clue this afternoon where I'll be driving. I think Byron Bicep Soro, if you we've all been trying to think of what else we can call Byron. Of course, the muscle man of the camp. Hey Sebastian, any new nicknames that you can just quick? Mr. B from Sebastian, that's what he gets called, B-Dog. Oh, there's so many that we tease him about, of course, so the bantering camp is just on point. So I think maybe we'll go to the far west. If Byron's going to be searching around Voyatella Dam, I'm sure he's going to be doing Gari, Cutline, Central, all those spots potentially where Tandi and Tamba could be. Maybe we can go and extend a little bit further away. Yeah, I haven't been to the western corner for quite some time, although I feel like I haven't done a game drive in ages as well. That definitely has happened. Well, I suppose there's so many of us having so much fun. We all getting a little break every now and then before got to crack the whip, start working hard, because you know what we do is not actually work. It's so much fun. Right, it is really though. Now, Roshni's got the question, how many birds have I seen in the Sabi Sand? And I know you asked that Byron as well, and he was very specific. He first said 116. I also don't know how many birds I've seen in the Sabi Sand. Quite a few, you know, especially working in such different areas, working down in the south and then coming up here to the north, you get a chance to see a few sort of specials. I'm going to go with close on 200, at least 200. I still haven't completed my bird list. I've tried, and I really need to go through it properly. I actually have my bird book here, and I started ticking it again the other day. I think something comes up and I get distracted and I forget to finish. I keep filling it in. I'll get there eventually though, one day. That'll be my goal for the end of the year. We'll try and see how many birds I've actually seen in southern Africa. Now, for those of you who have just started watching today, or perhaps in the last few days or last few weeks, we love to make lists and keep count of all the different animals that we see. It's a nice little game, gives you something to do on those quiet days. So if you have just started your bird list, and I think Byron and I will both be doing quite a bit of birding today, let us know if it's your first bird, perhaps it's number 100. Oh, you gave me such a fright, Sebastian. I didn't know what you were pointing at. Well spotted. It is a red-crested korhaan. Just you can actually, if you go straight in, I'll direct you, and then just up to the right, it's just moving away now. There it goes. You got it. Well done. Great teamwork. No, thank you. Now, that is a red-crested korhaan walking around over here, disappearing. It obviously has realized that it's been spotted. They don't like to be spotted. Well, I suppose they are slightly spotted, aren't they? But that's to help with the camouflage. Look at them, completely invisible in that grass. And they move so slowly as well that the grass doesn't sort of sway as if an impala was walking through the grass. Make quite a bit of noise. They're very quiet, very silent, except when they're calling, and the males are doing a lot of that at the moment, trying to get the female's attention. It might even walk, maybe it's going to walk out onto the road and expose itself for us. The grass is definitely thinning out now in the area that it's coming through, and the road is not too far away from it. And that would be nice if we get to see it do its entire display. Ah, thank you! What an obliging bird. My goodness. Who needs Allie's lucky beans? Also, we have to call Allie now Allie Olive Oil. That's her new nickname. She hasn't got a nickname yet in camp, so I'm trying to sort of establish a few. Oh, got its leg caught on a bit of grass there. Careful, you'll lift your feet when you walk, as my mom says. Don't shuffle your feet, though I still do that. And off it goes again. See, that just like the warthogs, not wanting to spend too much time out in the open, moving back into the thicker vegetation. It's looking for something to eat, though. You can see that eye is very busy. Its head's sort of moving left, right, looking down, searching for something to eat. Oh, what an inconvenient apple leaf. It'll eventually come back around again. Hopefully it keeps coming in the same direction. There it goes. Now do your call for us, please. This would be perfect. Perfect opportunity. No. Hungry. Yes. Now I'm pecking on the ground. We had an amazing sighting once. It was probably the best red-crested korhaan sighting I've ever had, was at Cheetah Plains when we had that arena. And the males were competing. We didn't see the female. But they were definitely competing for a lass that was in the area. We're going to start seeing them more and more often. I also can't wait to see the black-bellied bustards again. It'll be nice to see them. They've got such a beautiful eye. This is great. This might possibly be the longest single red-crested korhaan sighting I've ever had. Wonderful. Now, Vicky, hello, it's great to hear from you again. You were wondering if these birds can fly. They can. They're actually very good flyers. Oh, stretching the wings, stretching the legs. Maybe it's going to demonstrate. Vicky, maybe it's heard your question this afternoon. They typically spend most of the time on the ground, as we're seeing now. They don't fly and catch their food in the air. They actively search for it. However, if they need to get away, of course, they have got beautiful big wings, and they can take to the air, and they're actually really good at flying. You wouldn't think so, though, but they are. Wonderful. Well, that's quite nice. Well, we're going to go from our bird now. I'm going to send you across to Mr. Muscles, and he seems to have a bird that makes a whole lot more noise than this one.
We've got a grey go-away bird, and they're quite low down to the ground at the moment. There's a few of them here. Probably trying to pick up on some little seeds. They've got that very funny call. It sounds like it's saying, go away. It's a bit of an alarm call, and they do. The old, I think it was hunters originally, when they would be walking through the bush, often these grey go-away birds would either warn them that there's a predator around, or warn the animals that there's a hunter around. And they'd do their alarm call there. Gwah, gwah. It's a terrible alarm call, but it sounds like they're saying go away. I think with a lot of the bird calls, you need a bit of an imagination to hear what they're saying. But interesting to see them right down or close to the ground. Nice to see the grey go-away birds. They're part of the Turaco family. Now, a lot of the other Turacos have got beautiful colour. Chatty, Meg, you say those are number 3 on your list. You're only on number 3. Meg, we're going to have to get you some more birds then, get your numbers up. But they are lovely birds. As I said, the other Turacos are very, very colourful. Now, we don't really get, I'm trying to think, up in this area. Purple-crested turacos, we do get them in this area, and we see them mainly down closer to the rivers and the thicker areas. Am I making that up? Or no, I think I'm right. I used to see them at Londolozi quite a lot down near the rivers. Now I'll try to show you a quick picture of one. Let's see. But they've got, and I think the turaco word comes from the name Turrison. And now that's the red coloration that they have in their so just have a look in their feathers. Now have a look at that. Is that alright, Craig? Is it clear? There we go. So that's the bird, a very colourful bird. But have a look at this. They are very beautiful, and we do see them in this area. But have a look at this red coloration. Look at that. When they fly and they open their wings, they are bright red underneath. And you can see that they're very shy birds, though. But we do see them in these areas, and you can hear them. I haven't seen some here for quite a while, but like I said, down near the rivers and the Sand River and that, you do get a lot of them down there. So not too far from where we are actually. But those are the turacos. That's the purple-crested turaco. Now I'm still very, very curious where these leopards have gone. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if they are down in the drainage line, not far from the dam, and they're probably going to head out and have a drink later. That's what I think. I could be completely wrong, but now we are approaching the dam. I'm going to try and get a view of the dam and see if there's anything drinking. Now we've got some impala close by here. I think let me just go around here quickly. I think there's some antelope down there. Oh, there's an Inala drinking. Beautiful. Hold on, let me get us into position. There are some impala here too. Oh, that's actually, oh, there are quite a few Inala. Some Inala bulls. There we go, have a look at that. Can you see that? A lovely afternoon light on them. So they've all just come through and had a little drink. There's some impala around here too. But always nice to see these Inala bulls. Charlene, you say they are oh so very pretty. They are indeed. They're beautiful antelope. They really are. And what's fascinating is how different the males and females look. You know, these males are much darker in coloration. There comes another one now. It's just walking away from the water. They've got a wonderful walk. It looks, and you see there some oxpeckers bothering him. Oh, look at him go. I wonder why he's running. Now, occasionally people always think, well, the animals must be running because something's chasing them. That's not the case. Occasionally animals run just because they want to run. Now look at the sunlight on the body of that Inala. Very beautiful. But those oxpeckers are all over him. So as I was saying, the males and females look so different. And Dora, you say the males look like they had a fancy dress or a dance party. So they're much darker. They've got these beautiful coats. You can see the white stripes going down the body. But the females, if you have a look at that male's legs, you can actually see them clearly. That slightly reddish-brown coloration. Now the females are that color. The bottom part of the male's legs. The females are that color, and those very prominent white stripes, no horns. But the entire body is that color. So they do occasionally look like, if you didn't know, they probably look like they are different antelope. There's an impala snorting away here. I don't think they've seen anything. I think maybe maybe some males just having a little dispute. But look at all the oxpeckers on that stump flying over there. There they are, red-billed oxpeckers. I'm just listening very carefully because that impala is now alarm called 3 or 4 times, but that's a lovely view of those oxpeckers there. I don't think it's a serious alarm call. There's a lot of impala down at the bottom, and there's Inala, and if there was a predator around, all those antelope would alarm call. Like I said, possibly just a few males having a little bit of a dispute, or maybe one of the male impalas is just trying to keep the females close to him. Josh, you're a new viewer. Welcome, Josh. And you were saying that's amazing with these beautiful oxpeckers. A little bit stiff. I can't move around. I'm getting old. Josh, it's lovely to see all those oxpeckers. Now, those oxpeckers, those red-billed oxpeckers, will be flying around because of all those impala that we can see at the bottom. Just down off to the right. There we go. Look at that big herd of impala. There's some Inala. Now, these oxpeckers, they pick off the ticks and the fleas off these animals. So that's why there's so many of them around here at the moment. See, there's a lovely view of them. And they'll also go down and drink water from time to time. But they'll often sit on the antelope species. They'll sit on zebra, buffalo, rhino, giraffe. All those animals they'll sit on to pick off the ticks, and they'll feed on the ticks and the fleas. They don't really sit on elephant. I've never really seen them sitting on elephant. And they also don't sit on predators. Predators won't tolerate them. But antelope species and buffalo, like I say, buffalo and zebra, and giraffe, rhino, hippo, they also sit on hippo, and hippos' backs are out the water and exposed, and the oxpeckers will go down, try feed off some of the not necessarily just the insects, but what happens is, and now the interesting thing with the oxpeckers, they sit on these animals and they feed on the ticks because they are actually looking for the blood. So those ticks are full of blood from or being a parasite, they suck on the animal or the host that they sit on. And these oxpeckers will then go and feed on the ticks because they want that blood. So with the hippo, when their backs are exposed, often, some of you may have seen it, hippo do get into some serious fights, and you get a lot of serious scratches and scars on the hippo's backs. So what the oxpeckers do is they sit on the backs, and then they actually pick open that wound, and they drink the blood. And that's why the oxpeckers, there will probably be a tick or two, or maybe some fleas, but mainly because of the blood. They'll pick open the skin and the wound, and they'll drink the blood. And that's what the oxpeckers are after. Very interesting. But they do help in turn, they do provide a service of getting rid of the ticks off of the animals. Lulu, you also a new viewer. Welcome, Lulu, to Safari Live. A lot of new viewers at the moment. Wonderful to have all of you. And don't forget to keep sending your questions and comments. You can also do that hashtag Safari Live if you're on Twitter. And now, Lulu, the birds don't die from the ticks, not that I know of. And it's purely just feeding on them. So it's just like any birds feeding on insects, so they won't die from them. Now, Lulu, also, you may be wondering about the different diseases that the ticks do give. Now, some of these animals are immune to most of the diseases out here, ticks and that, and they've got ways of getting rid of ticks. But the ticks that we have in this area, they don't really give you serious diseases. We do get tick bite fever. Now, I've had it once, fortunately only once. You don't necessarily get it again once you've had it. Now, it is similar to Lyme disease that you get in the States, but not nearly as dangerous. Now, Lyme disease is quite dangerous and you can die from it. Tick bite fever isn't as bad, but you do have to be careful and you do have to monitor it. But a quick, short course of antibiotics for a few days and you're fine again. And then generally you don't get it again. But it's not nice to have your body aches, you get headaches, you get a fever, and it's not fun. But these animals are mainly immune to those types of diseases, so they don't get it. But nice to see so many of them. And of course, those beautiful oxpeckers, all these impala and Inala. Now they're moving off now, and I think we're going to do the same. Going to go see what else we can find. Let's head back to Taylor and find out how her afternoon is going and where she's off to.
Again, I got distracted earlier. I was trying to tell you what my plan was, but to be honest, I don't have a plan this afternoon. We're just driving, and we're going to take whichever road feels as though it needs to be driven, whichever one speaks to me most, and it's now Impala Plains. So we've just come through the open area. No Impala, very upsetting, and tried to look for one horn Sean, Impala ram that lives around. He's only got one horn. He loves it around here. I thought it would be nice to pop past him and have a little visit, but not today. Now we have a request from another new viewer, Nintendo Dude, and you're wanting to know if we could perhaps find some reptiles. Well, Nintendo Dude, I will do my absolute best. It's a little bit on the cold side today though. This morning we had rain, which is very unusual for this area. Typically we don't see a rain through the whole of winter, so normally after March, April-ish, right through till about, sometimes we get early rain in September. It's not uncommon for this area, but typically it starts in October. And so I'm not, I don't think we're going to see too many reptiles today. I just want to see if those they're just going to disappear in the long grass. Some crested francolins, but just missed them in the open. Would have been impossible for us to see them. I haven't actually even seen any snake tracks today, and out here, the reptiles don't hibernate like they do in the very cold countries. In this area, it really doesn't get cold. We can be drama queens sometimes, though. First thing in the morning, you'll hear us complaining for about the first hour and a half of drive about how freezing it is. There's no snow in anything. We're just wrapped up with beanies and gloves and scarves and blankets. It does get quite cold for us when we're used to the warm weather. Look at me, I've even put a jacket on. And so typically we'll see the reptiles, we normally see their tracks sort of moving across the road during the heat of the day, even in the winter months. And then if you look very carefully on the trees, sometimes you'll see the lizards sitting out, sort of basking, trying to keep nice and warm. But, oh, squirrel! You live life dangerously, my friend. Did you see that? Even Sebastian went, oh, Taylor's driving. There it goes, safe check. It might, I thought it was, I was hoping it was going to run up the tree. There was this little squirrel. I don't actually know what it had in its mouth. It's still going. You might actually, if you go back in, no, it's gone up to the right. Let me go forward. It's just on the tree behind the small tree, this jackalberry. It had something in its mouth. I don't know what it was carrying. Let's see if we can see it now. It's going, you see this fallen tree? It's going on the one behind it, around there. A little bit further to the right, actually. Just went in there. I wonder if it's maybe just not hiding from us. Let me see if I can spot. Oh, it is. There it goes. There it is. What have you got in your mouth? I don't know what it's got in its mouth. Now, the squirrels are looking for seeds that they would have stashed around during the summer months, for instance, when all the marulas were falling. It looks like it's eating a ball of grass or something. Josh, who's also a new viewer, you said that you are so excited that I found a squirrel. Well, thank you very much for your enthusiasm. I love squirrels too, and they actually are very difficult to put on screen. So we appreciate any second that we can, not just squirrel. Now, it's not a seed or a nut. It's a type of grass. I haven't quite worked out what grass it is just yet, and they have these sort of bundles on the top of them, and I don't know what part of the grass it's eating, but you can clearly see that's what it's feeding on at the moment, and that must be delicious. We find that it's got a bit of moisture to it as well, whatever's in the center of that. And squirrels' diet's quite varied. They eat so many different types of things. You know, it's not uncommon to see them snatching on insects, typically the alates or the termites, the princes and princesses of the termites. The winged flying ants is what they're often called, and then also driver ants. They'll feed on them quite a bit, but typically fruits, nuts, seeds, that type of thing. That's what they'll feed on too. I'm so glad that we got to see the squirrel. And like I said, it was very brave. It jumped out of the tree right in front of my car. Luckily, I wasn't chasing after wild dogs. But I would have hit brakes for it, don't worry. And I would have risked Sebastian's life over the squirrel's life. Luckily, we'd actually,
Find Sabine Hospital.
yeah, we'd find you in the front of the car underneath it. And that was great to actually just see the whole of the story and unwind there. So thank you very much, Squirrel, for showing yourself. Not a reptile, but very entertaining nonetheless. So we're going to head, I think, to the far west. We'll probably go have a quick scan around Sydney's and see if there's any buffalo coming through. I'm not going to hold my breath, but we'll give it a bash anyway. Byron has moved on from Vuyatela Dam now. I'm sure he's going to keep scratching around for Tundi and Tumba, and well, Sebastian and I wish him the best of luck.
Thank you, Taylor. Thank you very much. We will try our best, see what else we can find. But it's, like I said, it's such a lovely afternoon. But it is definitely much cooler. I think I'm going to put my jacket on quite soon. Even though the sun is shining, it is temperature is dropping slightly already. Apparently the weather station still says 73 degrees Fahrenheit to 23 degrees Celsius, but I think that's wrong. It is completely wrong. It feels cooler than that. Hello, Emma and Jack. And Jack's 7 years old and Emma's 9 years old. Lovely to have you with us on Safari Live. It's always nice to have young viewers with us. Sorry, Craig, right there. It's always nice to have young viewers, hopefully learning a lot about the bush with us. And you asked, what is my scariest story? Well, this morning we had to put the roofs on the vehicle and Taylor came out in her pajamas. That was quite scary. I'm just joking. Taylor's going to shout at me for that. Emma and Jack, I'm trying to think. Scariest story. I mentioned it the other day. The scariest story was a elephant that came into our camp and we had to try to chase it out, and that elephant ended up charging me, and luckily it stopped a few meters from me. It was very, very close, Emma and Jack. But I must tell you a funny story. I'm going to jump off the car for this one. So one day we were tracking a leopard, myself and my friend Judas, who's a tracker I used to work with, and Judas and I were driving along. We had tracks of this male leopard, a big dominant male leopard that was down in the south of the game reserve, not far from here. And Judas said that you couldn't see the tracks anymore along the road. So we got off the car, we walked around and we had a little look up the road to see if we could see the tracks. We couldn't see anything. Walked back down the road, still no sign of these leopard tracks. We couldn't work out where they disappeared to. And then eventually we came back and we saw, this must have been for about 5 minutes. Eventually we saw a track very close to the front of the vehicle heading off into the bush. Now, the guests were still sitting on the vehicle. We had a number of guests with us. And Judas and I then decided, let's just see where these tracks go. And as we took 2 steps away from the vehicle, a male leopard jumped out of the bush. He was lying there the whole time and we couldn't see him. It was quite a thicket, or thick area, and he was lying flat as he could, hiding in there, but just watching us. But because we hadn't walked towards him, he was comfortable with us walking up and down the road, and he didn't move. But as we walked towards him, he jumped out. Luckily for us, he just gave a bit of a growl. He went, "Bow!" And then it sounded almost, it's not quite a dog bark, it's it's like a deep leopard growl anyway. But he ran around, luckily, away from us, and both Judas and I kind of did one of these and jumped. The guests all laughed at us. They thought their rugged ranger and tracker weren't so rugged anymore, or brave and fearless. And we did get a bit of a fright, but luckily the leopard decided to move away. And he didn't go too far. He moved down into a drainage line and we got to view him. We jumped back on the vehicle very quickly and we had a lovely sighting of him. What was that? Hold on, what is that? That looked interesting. You know what that is? It's a black-headed oriole. Now, I just want to show you that quickly because we haven't seen one for quite a while. When last did you see a black-headed oriole? That dead tree, Craig. To the right-hand side, that very thin little dead tree, the tall one. Just on the right-hand side. Can you see him there? You go. If you go, and then to the right a little bit. There. Just straight, he should be there somewhere. Did he fly? Oh, he's gone. He flew away. Oh, sorry everyone. It was a very quick view, but it was a black-headed oriole. Let me show you quickly what he looks like. Let me just show you the oriole. Oh no, it was. Sometimes it's hard to get these birds on camera for you. They do fly away, but look at that. Beautiful black-headed oriole. That's it. Bright yellow, black head with the red beak. So in that, I caught a glimpse of it flying. Thought we haven't seen one of those for quite a while. But they are beautiful, beautiful birds. Hopefully we'll find another one. That was a black-headed oriole. We'll see. Maybe we can find some more. All right. Now, we're going to see what else we can find. Those are kind of my scary stories. Let's head to the ranger in pajamas and find out if she's got any scary stories.
Say that all I think of is, and good luck to all of you now because the song is going to be stuck in your head. Bananas in pajamas are something going down the stairs. I can't remember that song because I watched it when I was a kid, but yes, thank you, Byron. Ranger in pajamas. I am. I'll have to wear them one morning safari. Oh, wow, who says you can't wear pajamas in the afternoon? I know I stay in my pajamas if I'm at home not doing anything. I totally rock the pajamas for the entire day. You know what I've decided that we're going to go and do is we are going to go to where Mvula was on the Porcupine kill. I want to go and scavenge around there. I don't think he'll be there anymore, but maybe we can find some quills. Who knows what we can find? Maybe some interesting body parts. I've got my multi-tool. We'll get a stick and we'll try and have a closer inspection if the hyenas haven't come through and eaten every last bit of it, or if Mvula didn't do that himself. So we'll go and have a look around there. We're just passing the warden's houses now. Sydney's dam will be down and onto our left, but we won't go to Sydney's just yet. We won't have a look. We'll save that for a bit later. We'll just take the fire break turn off and go down there. I did see some female leopard tracks coming in this direction, but they don't look very fresh. What is that? No, there's lots of hyena tracks around here too. So I don't know when they were from, because yesterday was very windy. Yesterday afternoon was horrific. So it could have been from then. I actually suspect it probably was from then. I'm just deciding what I'm going to do. We're going to go this way. I'm scanning. Right. Apparently there's some gremlins here, so I'm going to go investigating. But while I go investigate, I'm going to send you back to Byron and see what birds he's going to talk about next.
All right, well, let's see what birds we can talk about next. But hold on a second. Just seen some tracks here. I just want to double check. Let me get off here quickly. Now, as I said, it's sometimes difficult to drive and track at the same time, but there are some leopard tracks over here, everyone. Now, I'm just trying to see if I can gauge how fresh they are, because we've been looking for Tandi and Tamba. Now, the tracks are not very clear here, but here they are. Now, what I'm also looking for at the moment is there are some impala tracks around here. But here's the leopard track. Now, I wonder if you can actually see it. I'll draw a circle around there. Can you see that, Craig? Very, very faint. I don't even know if you'll be able to pick it up. But there are the four toes. There's a little track. Now, they're going this way. Now, I wonder if this isn't this female leopard with a youngster. So like I said, I'm having a look to see if these impala tracks, for example, are on top of the leopard tracks, or if the leopard tracks are a little bit fresher. Now, sorry, I'm just walking around having a good look here. I drove over some of those tracks here. I think we should just go and have a look in that direction. Go back that way. Let's see, maybe we get lucky, because they don't look like they're that old. Now, it doesn't look like anyone else has driven here. I'm sorry, Max, what is that name, please? Can you just give it to me again? Sorry, I can't hear. Craig, can you hear? Faith, you asked if how do we tell whether or not the tracks are fresh. So, sorry, I'm just having a good look around here, just trying to make sure. But Faith, so what we look for is obviously how clear the track is. That's one thing that is obviously crucial. And then also, as I was mentioning, you have those other animals that have walked around. For example, impala. There might be some bird tracks, and if those tracks, occasionally they'll be on top of the leopard tracks, for example. Say in this case, it's a leopard that's moved through here. So I'm just having a good look through this little drainage line off to our left. It's a perfect spot for leopards to hide. And so Faith, so what happens is that's the easiest way, I would say, is have a look to see if any other animals have walked on top of the tracks, to see how clear the tracks. Occasionally, if it's been a windy day, perhaps you might have wind blowing sand or dust into the tracks. They won't look as clear. That's also a sign that they're a bit older. So all those little signs will help gauge how fresh the tracks are. But it is still difficult. It's I think, you know, tracking is a serious science. It is completely a science, and to understand it and to do it properly, you need a lot of experience. My friend Judas, that I used to work with, he was incredible at gauging how fresh a track was. He would just take a look and say within a few seconds of looking at the track whether it was worth us following that track or not. He would say, no, it's either from last night or a day old, or a few hours. At times he would look at a track and say, these are incredibly fresh, let's follow them. And once or twice, no, actually more, he would get quite excited. He'd tap the bonnet like this and he'd say, stop, these tracks are fresh, have a look, this leopard's here. And we'd drive around the corner and the leopard would be in the road. Not just leopard, lions too, but especially leopards. He was brilliant at finding leopards. We found many leopards together in our 5 years of working together. And we actually still do work together, which is great. We've got such a great friendship. And when I take guests back to Londolozi and guide there, if I'm guiding guests around that area, then often Judas and I will still drive together and share some stories and have fun with our guests and find some animals. So Paula, distinguishing the different tracks is that can be taught and learnt quite easily, actually, by identifying the different tracks. In the sand, in the soft sand, it's quite easy to identify a track. Okay, again, you need practice and you need experience, but the cat tracks, they all look different. Oh, hold on a second. Let me get my tracking book out. Just to give you Let me just show you quickly, because it is very interesting, and this is what guiding is all about. So let me just find some cat tracks for you. Okay, so this is lovely. Is that alright, Craig? Is it? There we go. These are the beautiful leopard tracks. Now, with all cat tracks, and a leopard track's just a wonderful cat track to look at. But you can see, if you look down here, three very clear lobes. Now, often we mention it on drive and we try and show you, but you can see it clearly in this book. How the three clear lobes of the leopard track at the back and the 1, 2, 3, 4 toes. Now, all cat tracks look quite similar. The leopards are generally much rounder, obviously smaller than lions. So that comes with a bit of experience in seeing the different tracks. And that's a nice picture of what they look like in the sand, if you look just off to the left there. So you can see them quite clearly in the sand from time to time. That other track that I showed you wasn't that clear, but there were one or two others that were a bit clearer. But you can see in the soft sand, especially soft sand, it's quite easy to pick up on those tracks. But three clear lobes at the back, so that's quite distinct in a cat track, so easy to identify. And I'm just going to show you a hyena track quickly, because that's one that sometimes people get confused with. But we don't want brown hyena, we want spotted hyena. There we go. There we go. That's the spotted hyena, so the hyena that we get in this area. And you can see the back pad. It's basically got two lobes, but slightly skewed. You see how the track slants to the side, but it hasn't got three prominent pads at the back, or three lobes at the back of the pad. Also the 4 toes, but the other thing is the claws can be seen on the hyena track, whereas with the leopards you cannot see claws. The reason for that is the cats have retractable claws, lions and leopards, so you won't see the claws at all. The only cat you will see claw marks on the track is, of course, the cheetah. They do not have retractable claws, and that's because the cheetah are built for high-speed running, and those claws give them traction, so they are always out. All right. That's a tracking lesson done. Eric, we can indeed see snake tracks very clearly too. There's often when we're driving around, we'll see snake tracks going across the road, and you can see them quite clearly. And obviously different snakes leave different tracks. Now that I think about it, sorry, I'm stopping and going, but it's interesting, and I love talking about the tracking. Let me just find the snake track quickly. Hold on a second, because I'd like to show you. They are quite interesting, and like I say, different snakes have different tracks. Let's see if I can find one for you quickly. Hold on. But like I say, there we go. Yeah, some snake tracks. So different snake tracks. They've got. You get different movements in snakes. I'm trying to think. This is going back to level 1 exams. Serpentine movement, which is a typical movement of a snake that slithers like this. You get rectilinear. If I'm not mistaken, rectilinear is. Just checking, but I'm right. It's when, for example, a puff adder would do it, where they actually creep forward like this. They don't move or slither like that as much. So different types of snake tracks. This is a nice. This is a nice movement, the serpentine movement, there we go, that I was speaking about. So cobras, for example, there you can see it's a nice slither in the sand, and you can see that quite clearly. And then this is a nice puff adder track over here to the left, and you can see the puff adder moves more in a straight line, not necessarily slithers. And then you can see that puff adder. I think that's such a wonderful photograph. Don't you think so, Craig? Yes, I took the photograph. Why not? I've got to brag a little bit sometimes. But the snakes have got different movements, and you can see the snake tracks quite clearly crossing the roads, and especially in summer, because the snakes are more active in summer. But even now in winter, there are days when the days warm up. You might get a snake moving around, and some snakes will bask in the sun to warm up, and then they return back to a hole or a tree stump or wherever they are hibernating, and then they'll return and go and rest again. They do come out from time to time, warm and bask in the sun, warm up in the sun, then go back again into the holes. Again, I'm just checking this drainage line very, very carefully for any sign of these leopards. Don't know where they've gone. There've been a few vehicles looking for them, but no fresh signs. No, but we'll carry on. We'll see what we can find. Let's head back to Taylor. Not sure where she is or what her plan is.
Hi, everyone. You won't know where I am, Byron. I've been doing all sorts of wonderful things like playing with carcasses. So before I show you what I'm about to show you, it might be a little bit gruesome to some of you, so feel free to go make a cup of tea or something like that. We're back at the site where Mvula killed a porcupine the other morning. Quite interesting. Really amazing for a leopard to take on something like that. Actually not as uncommon as what we think it is. Leopards are specialists at taking out porcupines. But we've got the carcass. I actually moved the carcass because I found where the stomach was. So we're going to have a look. No, I can't because... Look what I did. I'm attached. I got stuck. Now I've got to hold my breath. Just jokes. Okay. Wait, what should we do first? Save the foot. Okay, let's have a look at the foot. Quite interesting. I've never seen a porcupine foot up close. This is the first time for me. I'm also going to try and not gag at the stench that is coming from this porcupine. Not great. I'm also trying to not strangle myself with the various cables. It's going to sound very muffled. No, I'm joking. I won't speak like that. But how great is this? Look at the foot. I can't tell you the front end from the back end right now just because there's very little of this porcupine left to be able to distinguish between the two. I think this might be a back foot though. You can see, look at beautiful big pads. Now you can put the track in the sand that we often show you to the actual porcupine. Maybe you can make a collage of the two. You can show what the foot looks like now and then also show what the footprint in the sand looks like. I think it would be quite a nice comparison. So very powerful claws. If I can describe them in a way to you, it's like a dog's claw. If you have a Jack Russell at home, the claws are about the same size, almost the same length and color. They obviously are worn down from the various terrain that it's been walking on, so they keep them nice and short. Remember, they also are very good diggers. They dig down. Most of the things that they're feeding on are roots. Now, amazing, right? Don't you think? Not particularly big feet. You can see from the size of my hand, it's quite small. And you may see a few things wriggling around on here. I can't see maggots. There's just lots of ants that are eating it. And the quills actually come out very easily. Look at this. No, of course that one that I pull now is not going to come out. There we go. That worked quite well. Not going to touch the other end of it though, because I don't have anything to wash my hands with. Haven't seen much devil's thorn around either to use as an antiseptic. So when a leopard or any predator goes to attack something like a porcupine, ideally you want those quills to come out as quickly and as easily as possible. You don't want to be attached to the leopard or to the lion. You want those weapons to stab off, cause a bit of pain, and then you want an opportunity to run away. So they come out fairly easy. As you can see, very nice. It'll be quite good to come and actually collect a few. Great for decorations around the lodges. Of course, they were used as quills at one point too. Then, a woodpecker or something has just joined us. No, turtle doves. Then we've got over here, let me walk a little bit closer. Not too close though, because there's lots of flies and I don't want the flies to go on my face. Look at the stomach. I'm trying to work out what's actually inside it. It looks like dog food. Don't you think, Sebastian, from there? All this stuff over here, it looks like dog food, wet dog food. It also looks like perhaps some type of bran cereal. Not anything that I'd want to eat. It's actually quite gross. I don't think I'm going to be able to stay here. And then all the intestines. Now, have to walk away. So that moment where Taylor says reproducing at the beginning of drive and then gets sick live. Let's not have both of those in one day. Also, I want to put this away because I'm going to touch it. I don't want to touch it. I might have to wet wipe it just now. Put that there. So what's quite interesting about all of this is normally we see animals, they love to eat the intestines and the stomach lining. It's one of the first things that they go to. So it has to have some sort of vitamin that they crave or mineral or something in it. This leopard didn't do any of that with a porcupine, which I find quite interesting. This is the first porcupine kill I've examined after a leopard has feasted upon it. And I'm surprised that the hyenas haven't been here either. That was very surprising to Sebastian and I, because the stench is very powerful. Lots of food here for a hyena to eat. Okay, right, let's quickly do some disinfectant though, before I forget. So you're going to watch me. I'm going to take a wet wipe out. Yeah, it's not really going to sterilize this, but I don't want to touch this because I touch my face all the time and then I can put it in my eye or my mouth and that won't be good. So just wiping it clean with a baby wipe. Now, Mr. P from Canada, you're wondering if porcupines are dangerous? Most certainly. Even to us as humans, you need to be careful because if one runs towards you, and they're not small either, porcupine probably stands probably knees high with me, probably even with its quills, it'll be just a bit taller than my knee. So it's not a small animal. And if you get one of those quills in you, it can cause infection and all type of things. Luckily for us, we don't particularly eat them. Where I'm from, though, the Eastern Cape of South Africa, porcupines are actually a delicacy. Well, the Xhosas love to eat them. They say, and I'm also going to give, I spoke nonsense. I said I didn't have anything to wipe my hands with. Baby bum wipes. Good for everything. In the Eastern Cape, it's really quite great. So they go after them, and I remember it's our biggest rodent in Africa, the porcupine. So they're a bit of a pest to the farmers. Again, Eastern Cape, heavily farmed pineapples, chicory, citrus. They've got a bit of everything growing around there. So it's a big problem when a group of porcupines, one porcupine, however many porcupines in the area go through it and just dig up all the roots. It can be quite devastating to all the crops and things like that. So the farmers don't like them. The locals eat them. They say it's delicious. Apparently, if you take the porcupine and you throw it on a fire, as is, I've never had one before. They say that it's like pork crackling, but something even better. Like, I don't know how to describe the taste because I've never eaten it. So even the rodents are eaten out here. I'm just going to put this back there and throw that away later. I'm still too scared to touch my multi-tool. Put that back in its pocket, and I think we're going to move away now from the porcupine. Now, Chitty Chatty Meg, unplug myself and replug myself. We're wondering if they regrow their quills after losing them. They do regenerate over time. The porcupine has got lots of quills, so even losing a few at night is not really going to make too much of a difference, but they do replace them. Right, now we need to try and get out of here without driving over leopard feces and any more carcass, and also there's lots of gremlins. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed just having a very quick look at that porcupine. I don't know much about their digestive system, so I'm quite intrigued now after all the intestines that I saw to do a bit of research about that. But let's go across to Byron. I'm not sure what he's got, but I'm sure, well, he'll be his normal hilarious self.
Dear, no funny jokes this time, Taylor. We've just got beautiful Inala bull. But hang on a second. What I wanted to show you, let me just reverse quickly. Now we've got a whole family here. I'll have a look at, is it right, Craig, for those females to the right? There's some beautiful light to them, but there's some youngsters and females. Now you can see that beautiful color very clearly that I was speaking about earlier. Aren't they beautiful? There's a young male. Do you see? Now this is wonderful. Can you see that young male right there in that group? You can just see the horns starting to grow. No, that's the female, little to the left. There we go, in the middle, the back. There we go. And see the young male with the horns just growing, and you see that the youngsters are actually the same color as the females, and then as those males grow older, there's another sub-adult. Look at that, he's already turned that grey color. You see the horns are a bit bigger, not quite a full-grown adult yet, full-grown male. And then, of course, you get this beautiful dark coloration over here. Now you see how dark he is, those beautiful white markings on him. So that's lovely. We've got the different phases of a male. And Paula, you are correct. Only the male Inala have horns, and look at those beautiful horns on that male. So he looks like he's the dominant male with this group, and I'm assuming that he's potentially trying to see if there's a chance to mate with any of the females. Oh, look at that youngster. That's very cute. So, as I was saying, he's possibly looking to mate with some of these females. Yeah, I can see him smelling the females, probably testing to see if they are in estrus and ready to mate. And off they go. So that's nice. We got to see the whole group, and wonderful to see the different stages of the male, from a young male who's the same color as the females to that almost teenage phase, I suppose. They start going a bit darker, and then the adult male, that beautiful grey coat with those beautiful big horns. Wonderful to see them. You can see the temperature's dropped a bit. I've got my jacket on now. See, there are some elephant tracks around here too. But I think this might have been, I'm not sure, but I don't think these are fresh. Maybe that group that Taylor had earlier heading on towards Torchwood. Pam, hello to you. You're a new viewer too, and you asked if the elephant tracks can be hard to spot sometimes. They can indeed, Pam, and let me just show you quickly. Sometimes, but sometimes they're quite clear. Let me just show you over here. Now, this whole section, the middle of the road, you can see there's some very clear tracks, and you might be able to see around here. Craig, is that okay? Can you see? There's just some really nice flattened soil here, and they do stand out very, very clearly. So it's actually easy to spot the elephant tracks. However, these are old, and I say that because I can see there's some other animals that have walked on top of these elephant tracks. These are at least a day or so old, I would say, these tracks. And we had a lot of elephant around, was it yesterday, I think? But it looks like, yeah, these tracks are old. They're not fresh tracks. As I said, I can see tracks of other animals that are on top of the elephant tracks. So that's a dead giveaway. They're not very fresh. And a lot of them have been driven over. They're animal tracks on top of them. But you can actually, they stand out quite a lot, Pam. So the elephant tracks, those big pads, do make a clear impression in the soil or in the sand. So it's quite easy to see those clear elephant tracks. Plug in here again. Oh dear, Taylor, I hope you wash your hands tonight. I'm not sure if you touched the porcupine kill, the remains of the porcupine, but it didn't smell very good the other day we were there, so I'd hate to know what it smells like now. But let's go see where Taylor's heading now after her smelly porcupine experience.
My smelly porcupine experience, it was smelly. Not sure just yet. Maybe we're going to pop past the hyena den. We'll have a look. Oh, there's another squirrel. I'm going to try and stop here. No, are you going to stay? He's running towards us. He's just off the road. There he is. I was actually reading something completely random, seeing as though we're looking at a squirrel, but I have to tell you, I was reading, had to quickly do a bit of interwebbing because I was so intrigued by the length of the intestines of the porcupine. Now, my mammal books unfortunately don't specialize in talking about the length of the various organs, So I popped it in the interweb, and I was surprised to learn that the small intestines can extend to a length of 6.7 meters. That's unbelievably big. When we were there, I couldn't work out. I was like, what on earth is going on? Because it was just intestines from the base of the tree basically right to where we saw the stomach. I thought, that's amazing. So that was really cool to learn that. I'll do a bit more research about it, and then tomorrow morning maybe we can go back again if the hyenas haven't come and eaten it, and sort of chat a little bit more in depth about it. That's what I love about this job, is that you find something that you've never seen before and you go, hang on, I really want to know a little bit more about that. And then we were talking about, Sebastian and I were talking about, does anyone remember the program called Animal Autopsy? That was really great and so informative. I don't know, we were just chatting about that, so thought I'd let you know in case you were wondering what we were talking about in between. So random. But yes, I think we'll go and check the hyena den now. But Byron, also don't worry, I did wash my hands. I used my baby bum wipes, not mine, but I bought them. I couldn't find any sort of hand sanitizing wipes, so I just thought, same thing. We'll get those. I'm very OCD about hands being quite dirty, so I wipe them about 100 times a day, and then hand lotion, obviously. So they smell beautiful now. Here's an interesting question from James. You're wondering if there are any more reports of ostriches that were seen the other day. No, not at all. Apparently they were seen at Chitwa Dam as well. I think we chatted about this, and then a couple of other properties, Little Gowrie and one or two, but nothing since then, and I haven't seen any more tracks, which is a bit disappointing. I was really hoping we were going to get a sighting of them. I mean, we definitely tried and put in the effort to try and find them, but can you believe it? The animal, which brain is smaller than its eyes, outsmarted us. That's upsetting. That really hurts the ego. But maybe the hyenas will save us and will help us out. We're near the den right now, actually. And we'll just head around, go down the track. Well, it's more like a road now, not even a 2-track, because we go in there so often. And hopefully there will be some hyenas around. Okay, here we go. Wish us luck. Don't see any fresh tracks just yet, and they could start moving around now. It's nice and cool. The sun's starting to dip. We're unfortunately going to miss the sunset, but maybe Byron can find a nice spot to find the sunset, because surprisingly the clouds have actually all completely disappeared after a rainy start to the sunrise safari. Let's see, can I see Ntima's happy little face? I can't see her bounding out yet. I love this little hyena. She's so funny. It really is like she gets joy of us coming to visit her, or out of us, so not of us, out of us coming to visit her. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's anyone home, but straight away there's definitely a rotting smell in there. And I said this a couple of days ago. So I really do think that, sadly, the fact that we have not seen that little cub, I think, and it's just my opinion, the other guides might have different opinions, but I think that little one has died in one of these burrows. There's a bone of some sort, some sticks that Ntima's obviously been chewing on. So yes, which is very sad, of course, but I am happier that if it is the little one, that it's out of its misery now, because that's not nice to see. But sadly, we haven't got anyone home. We might have to try again a little bit later. All right. Oh well, Ntima, I was so looking forward to seeing you. Oh, and it seems as though when you ask Byron something, you shall receive. I mentioned maybe he could show you the sunset, and he's going to do exactly that.
I am indeed. Well, I'm not going to show you the sunset. Craig is. Let's have a look. It's actually a beautiful sunset, beautiful silhouette with those dead trees. Maybe we're lucky and a leopard pops out. We're in that area that Thandi and Tumba, the female leopard with her young male cub. This morning they had a kill, but they finished it. It was a daycare, so not a lot of meat. And I think they killed it yesterday, so they fed last night and this morning and finished it up. So they did move off, or we didn't see them earlier, but I'm heading back into that area now to have a good look. But there's always time to appreciate a good sunset. Very, very beautiful. Another tough day in Africa. Isn't it hard? What a time. Aya Stark in the final control says, what a time. As I said, Megan, our director, looks just like Aya Stark from Game of Thrones. It's scary. So a lot of us are very nervous at the moment. We're very nervous in camp. We've hidden all the knives from her just in case she gets any ideas. Alright, come Craig, let's find a leopard quickly. And then tonight dinner's on me, Craig. I'll pay. Ooh, Taylor's got a hyena. Let's go have a look.
There she goes. I can't believe it. She came out. Let's go around and see if she's gonna come back. How funny was that? As we were leaving, of course, she pops her head over, and she didn't even come up to the car this time. I'm disappointed. Normally when we see her, she's so excited and she's bouncing around and she can't wait to come up to the car and smell the new smells. Not today. She's just on that side, so we've just got to do a bit of navigating. We should get her again. Right. Woo! I don't remember this gap being so tight. Hey? Yeah, everything's just grown. The rain, it's amazing how quickly the vegetation... No, I'm just joking. That didn't actually happen. Okay, watch that one. Now watch, what's going to happen? We're going to get around here and then she's going to go back across to the other side. There's this massive branch we have to go over. Ah, ha, ha. Nothing that low range can't sort out. Oh, there's an adult. Hi, adult hyena. I should have just come around this way first time. Hello, hyenas. Don't be scared, Intima. That's unlike you. Just trying to get us in this little gap. I'm obviously trying to go as quietly as I can. Now, Intima, don't let her fool you because she's being a drama queen now. She normally runs up to the cars and can't wait to say hello. No, she's just staring at us. Yes, hello, princess. Oh, she's so cute. I always find that young hyenas at this age sort of resemble, I suppose, the striped hyena or even an aardwolf if you use your imagination when they're this young. Look at her, strutting her stuff. Yes, this is the greeting that I normally expect, Intima. Hello, young lady. Oh, this is such a gorgeous creature. You know, I don't care what anybody says about hyenas. I know that the Lion King has, unfortunately, painted these creatures to be nasty and destructive and evil, but that's really not what they are. Hyenas are one of the most intelligent animals out here. If any animal is going to give an elephant a run for being the smartest animal in the African bush, it's definitely the hyena. A spotted hyena, particularly. They've got a very intricate social structure, and I presume that that's ribbon laying there. It will be confirmed if young Intima decides to suckle. Now, we haven't been, or I can only talk again from my experience. I seem to not have too much luck with the hyenas in terms of seeing massive group interactions around the den. Every time I've come here, it's one or two adults and an Intima, and then when the other little one was still around. But they've obviously all moved off now. But I'm still convinced they're using another den somewhere. Look at her. She's come so close to the car that unfortunately now you can't see her anymore. And now I've got to watch her because I don't want her to bite my tires. So while you do that, I'm going to stand up just a little bit. And I'm going to make her just a gentle noise, not anything subtle. I just tapped the dashboard. That's it. Very soft and subtle. You may have heard it. She can't bite the tires. She can't learn that she can touch the vehicle and pull the tailgate lights off and things like that. We don't want that. See, we don't want her to get hold of a piece of material that she's not going to be able to digest, because let me tell you, like children, like dogs, young dog, or any young pet, they can be quite destructive and they want to put everything in their mouths. Imagine the hyena's super sense of smell as well. Anything that has got anything to do with humans is very attractive to them. And we use hand lotions, we use body washes, we use petrol, we use all sorts of things that maybe a hyena doesn't get to smell all the time. So it's a new sense to them, and because of their intelligence level, they're of course very excited by this, and especially a youngster. So just as I will reprimand an elephant bull when he gets too cheeky at the car, you need to make sure we don't let this little one learn that she can, of course, bite the tires. It'll be terrible for us. So just a little, I didn't even have to raise my voice, because I also don't want her to associate my voice with something negative, just because it's a hyena and it's not really a threat to us. So just a slight little tap, just to go, hey, that's naughty. But you can see, look how curious she is. She's gone, Mom's having a sleep. Well, okay, Mom, you keep relaxing. I'm just going to walk around and do my own thing. I'm going to do a bit of investigating. And they are very curious, so they do wonder. I don't think she's going to go too far, but I wouldn't be surprised if she goes wandering during the day. These young animals just cannot help themselves. We see it with lion cubs, we see it with leopard cubs. We actually saw it really amazingly with Hosanna and Shongile, how naughty the two of them were, and would just go off and do their own thing whenever they wanted. There is Ribbon. You can confirm for me if you'd like. You can hashtag Safari Live. It's obviously quite difficult from this angle, but I'm sure it is. And she's going to come back this way because she's bored. She didn't find anything on the other side of the den. Not bringing back a bone or a stick to chew on. Lulu, who is also a new viewer, you say that this hyena is so fluffy. Most certainly, and it's important. We see this with all the young animals out in the bush. They typically do have a fluffier coat just to keep them nice and warm during the cold mornings and the cold evenings. We saw it with the little Blacksmith lapwing chicks too, how fluffy they are. That's very important. But they will lose it. You saw with Mom, her coat's quite sort of smooth. So this little one will lose that fluffiness. I reckon about maybe a year and a half. Start to resemble more of an adult. Maybe even a little bit later than that. How great is this? I really wish we had more hyena cubs. It would be so great to watch them play. Now, a lovely question from one of our youngest viewers, Tula Ann, who's only 5 years old, wanting to know if this hyena will jump into the car by accident. So, no, I don't think so, Tula Ann, but I don't know if I'd like a hyena on my lap either, so I hope not. And that's why I did what I did just now. Made a sort of a noise just to say, hey, no, you need to respect the vehicle. You can come up and you can sniff, but you can't touch. And that's important, that we keep that barrier between the animals. It's not to allow them to touch the cars. And it's actually a problem we see most with elephants, becoming quite curious again. Super sensitive smell. So they are very much intrigued by the different scents in the car, just as I was discussing about the hyenas. So it's important that we make sure we keep that sort of boundary. Look at her. She is looking at a bird that just flew past. Not that she'd typically be interested in wanting to hunt something like that. Obviously, the behavior between lions and leopards I find completely different to something like a hyena. We often see lion cubs and lion and leopard cubs, very excited, sort of wanting to stalk the birds that are coming past. My goodness, some francolins and things making big noise behind me. Actually got the attention of the female hyena there. No, eyes are heavy, going back to sleep again. Not too worried. So she wants to play more. She's not really developing her stalking skills. If anything, a hyena doesn't necessarily stalk its prey. Try and get as close as it can, because they're very good hunters, but it will chase them down and use strength in numbers. Now, I can't work out if these birds are having a territorial dispute, because there's lots of francolins calling all around me, or if they're alarming. But the fact that Ribbon's also gone back to sleep maybe puts my Now, Tiffany, you're wondering why do we name the hyena cubs at such a young age, but we're not with the leopard cubs? I actually don't know, to be honest. I wasn't involved in the naming of the hyenas. What have you seen, little one? Maybe just because maybe the hyenas have got a better success rate than the adults, but then again, we see siblicide being performed, so it's a difficult one. Sorry, I actually can't answer this question. I have no idea as to how to respond to that one. But remember, these animals, all of them, hyenas, leopards, lions, all these youngsters have a very tough life, and the reality is that most of them won't actually make it to adulthood at all. And I think it's best that we try not to name things too early, because you become more and more attached to them, and rather just wait for them to get to a certain age. I think 6 months is good. A year is even better. It just depends on, I suppose, how often we're seeing them too. But it is a tough one. You're very intrigued by something. She's looking at this fallen log. So I know this might sound very silly. I wonder if she can hear like little insects and things moving around inside that wood, because there's no birds here that could get her attention. I don't know. She's looking around. I can't quite work out what. But their hearing is so good. Look at those big round ears. Like little satellites. This is so great. How wonderful is this? I love the hyenas. I really do enjoy spending time with them. So we'll probably sit here for a little bit longer. I'm going to send you across to Byron, who has arrived back at Waterhole Dam.
I have indeed. Now, the reason for that, and sorry, we've just got a Hadida searching for two of them, searching for worms or insects in the dam. Now, I'm back at the dam because I was hoping that maybe these leopards would pop out somewhere. I've had no sign of them, no alarm calls. I wouldn't be surprised if later this evening they pop out and have a drink. So maybe keep watching the Juma Dam cam. You might see some leopards here a little bit later tonight. Who knows? Who knows? But there's nothing else here. Near the red-billed buffalo weavers in the tree across the dam. Just some hardy-dars around here. As I said, there's really not much else here at the moment. That's very strange. I was also hoping that maybe these leopards are down in this drainage line somewhere. So I'm scanning very carefully, but I didn't see anything. And I saw one or two impala moving through here, and they seem quite relaxed. There is one over there. Quite a brave impala to be by itself down in the drainage line. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if the rest of the herd is maybe just in there somewhere, or just up on the clearing, and that one I'm sure we'll go and join them at some point. As it gets darker, we know the impala, wildebeest, all those animals like to move out into the clearings for safety. But you can see this female is still very, very alert while down in the drainage line. Well, maybe we should resort to trying to find an owl, perhaps, because it looks like our search for leopards this afternoon has not been successful. I haven't heard anybody have any luck with leopards this afternoon. I've been trying to listen to the radio, but a few people that went and looked for that male and female, or that female and the young male that we had this morning, but no sign of them. Well, luckily Taylor's had a lot of luck this afternoon. Can I say that? Luckily Taylor's had a lot of luck. I mean, Taylor's had a lot of luck this afternoon, and she's still with those hyena. Let's go have a look and see what they're up to.
Yes, and Chima keeps coming back and forth. I have been fairly lucky today compared to some of my other excursions, which have been on the quiet side. And Tima, please, you are going close to my tires. she biting them?
No, she
Sebastian can see her. It's very difficult. I'm trying to work out what on earth she's doing. Oi. Oi. I'm watching you. I'm not really watching her, but... Hey. She won't go. Sebastian, please can you just tap the edge there just so she doesn't bite the tire?
Okay, no biting.
Naughty. Look at her. Sorry, Megan, may I have that question again? We're basically it's like training a naughty child now. I will leave you in Tima. If you carry on like this, I will go away. Now, I don't want to start the car because it's going to give her a fright. Now, I just want her to learn that it's not acceptable to touch the car. I think she's realized this on her own, that she's been shouted at. And you can see Mom doesn't care. Mom's like, you tell her, I've told her 10 times and she's not listening to me. Maybe if it comes from a stranger, it will work. I suppose that's parenting 101, isn't it? And here she comes again. And she just can't help herself. She's so curious. It's so exciting for her. She's a friend. Remember, she wouldn't be coming up to us if she was petrified of us. But we want to keep this relationship positive, of course. And it is. I mean, if she didn't like it that I was making those noises, she'd run away and go straight into the burrow and hide and not come back out. So I'll just keep very gently and very softly telling her no. As long as she doesn't go to my tires, I'm quite happy that she hangs around here. That's fine. Look at her. She wants to go for the rubber. Now, remember, it must be quite nice. Hey.
might turn into a game.
Naughty, yeah. It's exactly what Seb says. It's going to turn into a game now. We might actually go just now because I don't want her to get sort of too cocky around the car, if you will. You know, I don't want her to learn that she can keep doing this, but they do. This is normal for hyenas. Hyenas come around the cars all the time. Don't be naughty. Now, Bree, you say it's hard not to fall in love with his face. That's the problem that I'm having now. And that I'm going, oh, she's so cute, though, and I don't want to shout at her or reprimand her. I suppose you can't really call what I'm doing shouting, because if I had to shout, I'll tell you right now, I'd send both those hyenas into the den with my loud, booming voice. They definitely wouldn't like that. It is, and that's what I love so much about, well, working on Safari Live, is that you get to spend so much intimate time with these animals that I wasn't necessarily always able to do as a guide. Obviously, you always have your favorites on the particular property that you're working at, and various elephants that come through, or leopards and lions. But to physically just sit here for hours and hours on end, you were never really able to do this with guests. Some guests, yes, that have been on safari many times and understood the bush and come on a regular basis. But there's always a checklist to get through. You not always get to see all the things that you want to, and you try and spend as much time as you can. But you're definitely pressured as a guide to show your guests a variety of different animals, whereas I would quite happily just spend 3 hours with hyenas, 3 hours with elephant, maybe 6 hours with elephants, you know, and 5 minutes with lions and leopards. No, I'm just teasing, of course not. When they're doing stuff, they're very interesting. But now, Ntima seems to have found herself, it looks like a little shard of bone of some sort. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's from one of the very many buffalo carcasses that are around and in this area. The Mkuhuma Pride have killed many buffalo around here. Yes, and Nancy, you say she's found a toy. Yes, something that's not my car, and I'm quite happy with that. So good girl. You keep chewing on your bone. Isn't that delicious? Look at that face. I love it when their eyes almost roll back a little bit and you start to see the white peering through. It gives them a very sweet look. Now it looks like she's got a tick or something on her eye, on top of her eyelid. I can just see a bit of red. I wonder what that is. Probably a tick. Remember, these animals, even though you can't see it because she is so fluffy, they still will have parasites all over them. That won't be bothering her too much. Normally when ticks get too fat, they get to a point, they just drop off in the end. I'm not really worried about it there. Into all the birds. Lots and lots of birds chatting away now. Now, Karsten from Denmark, you said that she's almost as cute as Tumba. I think this little hyena could give little tumber a run for his money, though he's gorgeous though. He is definitely the epitome of pretty. He just oozes, as attractive as what a leopard could be. Tumber is definitely that, but I reckon that this young lass here she's very precious. She's got very interesting markings all over her body. I love the bits of white that are still white that come through that dark black fur. Off she goes on another adventure. But I think what we're going to do now is, I love, and I could sit here for hours and hours, but because she's getting a bit too curious every now and then with the car, I don't want her to come right to the tire. So I think that was fantastic for today. Let's not push our luck too much. We'll come back tomorrow morning and have another look at the hyenas. So while I try and navigate out of this area that I've got myself into, let's go back across to Byron.
Now I'm looking for owls. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to try and find any owl. I heard a white-faced scops owl, but it sounded like it was deep in the Mulwati, off to our left, so I don't think we'll get there. I can also hear a barred owlet. Now I'd love to find that little barred owlet. Very small. I haven't seen one on Safari Live yet. I've seen them before, but not on Safari Live. I've got a distinct call. I'll play it for you shortly. Let's just see. While I'm driving, I'm stopping every now and then, switching off and trying to listen out to see if I can hear where these owls are. And I'm hoping we are able to find one. Well, let's stop here and just hear for a second. I'm hoping it's not too deep into the bush. Mitro, you, a new viewer, hello to you, and you say you are excited that I'm looking for owls. Now, the barred owlet that is calling is in that direction. Now listen to what I'm listening to. Now that's the sound of a barred owlet. I'll show you what it looks like. Beautiful little bird, beautiful owl. Look at that. That's the African barred owlet, and it's calling, but it is far from us. I'm just trying to think, how can I get into that area? Let's have a look. We'll go through and around. Perhaps maybe we have some luck. It's difficult. I mean, you can hear it, and to get there is another story, but maybe we bump into another owl. Adele and Natalie, you asked what is the rarest bird in the Sabi Sands. Oh, that's difficult, Adele and Natalie, because what sometimes happens is we get these migratory birds, which sometimes get blown off course, and they might arrive in the Sabi Sands for a day or so and then disappear again. But in terms of sheer numbers, I would say the rarest is probably the ground hornbill, because they are endangered. So their numbers are very, very low at the moment, those big, beautiful ground hornbills. But I don't know, there's birds like a Narina trogon. We don't see often, but I've seen in the Sabi Sands. Emerald cuckoo I've seen before, which you don't often get around here. Birds like that, like I say, that sometimes get... So I'm just listening for a second. Okay, but it sounds like I'm on the right track to that barred owlet. If I find it, I will be so happy. I'm going to be very excited if I do find it. One thing to listen to the sound, try follow the sound to get close to it, and then to actually look for it and find it would be amazing. So there are a lot of birds, like I say, that sometimes get blown off course when they are migrating or pop into the area for a day or two and disappear again. Oh, okay. Now how can I get in there? Oh, scrub hare. Don't go, don't go, don't go, scrub hare. Oh, disappeared. Very quickly, a little scrub hare. Oh, now everyone, I don't know if we're going to be able to get to see this owl. I'm going to try. Just going to drive off here a little bit. Just into this little clearing. Oh, hang on, hang on. No, I can't. Hold on, hold on. I still can't see it, Craig. Craig's seen something. Oh, there we go. Craig. Well spotted, Craig. Where are you looking? I can't see it with my naked eye. I don't know if my angle is... But there we go. A barred owlet, everyone. That's Craig. Well spotted. Very, very well spotted. I just want to see where I still... I don't know where it is. I can't see what you're looking at. But that is such a great spot, and oh, there he is. Well spotted. Wow, he's well camouflaged. So well spotted. And there we go. That is the barred owlet, everyone. And Craig, are you happy to call it a team effort? Because I got us into the area that I thought it was in, and you spotted it. There it goes. Hang on. Oh, I think it might have caught something. It flew down to the ground. Now these little owls will catch insects and lizards and rodents. Now it flew down to the ground. I just want to see if it takes off again. Hold on. But that's amazing. That was such a nice view. And you could see those barring on the chest, not like the Scops owl that's got a little bit of streaking rather, and or the pearl spotted owl rather. Now this little owl is in the grass here somewhere, just ahead of us. I wonder if it's going to, if it caught something. Just trying to look now carefully. It flew down into this grass. Now, Gabby, I tried to read up about this the other day. You asked what is the difference between an owl and an owlet. Gabby, it wasn't very clear. It's almost like they confusing themselves with the description. So I don't understand it, to be honest. Because they say the size of the owl, but the only one that is called an owlet is this little barred owlet. However, the barred owlet is bigger than a Scops owl, and a pearl spotted owl. Or they call the pearl spotted, technically they call the pearl spotted an owlet too. However, do they call the Scops owl? Hold on. See, an African Scops owl they call an owl, but it's actually smaller than an owlet, than the barred owlet and the pearl spotted owlet. They say it's got something to do with the size, but again, I don't understand it, because the other one, the Scops owl, is just as small, if not slightly smaller, and they don't change that name. So I don't know, Gabby. I've got no idea. I just want to have a look. I don't know if he took off onto that branch. But that was amazing. That was really, really a great spot, Craig. Well done. Now, it's really not often you get to see them. Okay, so he definitely didn't land here for very long because he's not here anymore. But I thought I wonder where he went. So he landed down here, and then he landed down here and then took off again. And I think I saw some movement go back that way. But it just shows you how quickly they can disappear. But what a wonderful sighting, a very brief sighting, but great view of that African barred owlet, which was the one that we were looking for, and that was fantastic. Craig, thank you very much. That was awesome. Let's head back to Taylor, see what she's going to be looking for with her spotlight.
We've just heard a pearl-spotted owlet, and well, Byron, seeing as though you seem to be the king of owls, I might try and raise your barred owlet to a pearl-spotted owlet. Let's see if we can find it. It's in here. Remember that these little owlets, though, have got the ventriloquist calls actually behind us. I'm just going to go back. I really hope it's not a drongo. No, it's a oh, you sneaky drongo. It was the drongo. I cannot believe that. It sounds exactly the same as the pearl-spotted owlet call. It is a very easy call to mimic. I mean, if we as the guides can do a fair job at mimicking it, you can imagine something as clever as a fork-tailed drongo that mimic. Hey, there it is. No, no. It was sitting right here. It was not. This was not what was making the call, though. It was definitely the fork-tailed drongo, because I heard the mechanical afterwards. Well, not that a drongo makes that sound. It was sitting right in here, and as I hit the brakes, it flew. We'll find it again. I think it was the pearl spotted this time. Wouldn't that be cool? Oh, where'd you go? Let's have a quick look here. I'm sure we'll get it. It just flew. I didn't see where it landed. Let's go around the corner here. And this is the hard part, because as you saw with Byron, those owlets are tiny. They really are not something that stands out quite easily. They blend into well, what's left of the vegetation and all of the branches and things. Oh, there it is. I've got it. Sebastian, we're going to do silhouette though. It's here on that silver cluster leaf. You see it? Now, I only spotted it because, not because it's a pearl spotted owlet. I spotted it because there's a silhouette of it against the skyline. But before, okay, there we go. Let's see if it is though. No, it's the barred. It's not even a pearl spotted owlet, it's another barred owlet. Cool. That's all right. I don't mind that. So there we go, Byron. We didn't raise you anything. Well, we're on par, aren't we? How great is that? Now, the reason why it's not a pearl-spotted owlet is because if you look at the back of its head, you can't see the two black spots that a pearl-spotted owlet has. They're sort of fake eyes to make anything that's wanting to predate on it think that it's actually staring at it. Now, this is when the barred owlet... Sorry, I'm just trying to rest the spotlight on the steering wheel so I can keep it still. No, I think that's still the drongo calling, and off it goes. It's looking around. It's just landed on the next tree, quite far away now, my spotlight. It helps a little bit, hey? You try and get it a little bit. It's looking for insects, just as Byron's one was, diving down into the grass, hoping to catch a grasshopper or a driver ant, because I have seen a few driver ants this morning. They were in the shower, actually. I showered with driver ants. It was wonderful. It was so great. And I wish I had this barred owlet in the shower with me. It would have had a tasty snack, and I wouldn't have had those things on my toes. And that was quite unpleasant. But I suppose that's a normal thing when you leave a window or door open. Gabby, you said that this is amazing. 2 owls in one night. It is pretty special. It's not every day that we get to see something like this. Look at it. How amazing is that? Almost being able to turn its head completely 360 degrees. Now it's dived down in the grass again, and you've already had that experience with Byron trying to find the owl once it goes into the grass, unless it flies back up to its perch, which it just has. Oh, nice. It was obviously unlucky. I don't think it got anything that time around, but they're really small. Now, where I'm from, in the Eastern Cape, These are very special birds to see. Oh, it did catch something. It did catch something sneaky. Holding it in its talons. Nice. I wonder what it caught. It could be anything. It's discarding parts of this insect that it doesn't seem to enjoy. So you saw exactly that. Landing, I can't keep the spotlight in the same place. Landing down on the ground, catching its meal, and then eating it back on a perch. Oh, it was a cricket. A massive cricket. That is great. Well done. Very impressive. Swallowing that big meal whole, just pulling off a couple of legs, I presume. So those are those crickets that are making all the noise at the moment. Actually, if you listen, you can hear one calling now. Or stridulating. Hear that? Off it goes again. That was so cool. So that's the cricket making that sound that we just saw that African barred owlet catch. Really amazing. So I was telling you, I keep getting distracted, that those birds are actually quite special for me to see, because we used to try and find them. We'd hear them at night in the Eastern Cape, but they're so rare. And then we found, 4 of us found the first pair that had been seen in 25 years, which was really nice. We went on a walk and found them in a euphorbia thicket, which was a very, very special sighting. I think I showed you on the map, there's a tiny little area where they occur down in the Eastern Cape region, but they're not very common at all. But we found some, which was really nice. So they've come back again. I'm not sure what the reason was why they disappeared, but I got lucky. Anyways, we're going to head across now to Byron, and I'm going to challenge him for the last 10 minutes to see if he can pull a chameleon out his sleeve, because he is the only person that gives me a run for my money when it comes from finding chameleons. So let's go see if he can do it.
I'm not challenging you tonight, Taylor. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do it because it's winter and it's just far too difficult. But I am so impressed that you managed to find a barred owl just after us. What are the chances? There we go. What have we got here? It's a bronze-winged courser? No, I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry. That's not. That's a spotted thick-knee. That's what that is. There it goes. Beautiful spotted thick-knee. 2 of them. Now they are other nocturnal birds we get around here. We get the spotted and the water thick-knee. Lovely to see the spotted thick-knee. I haven't seen some for quite some time. Alright, Taylor, well, let's see what we can do, shall we? Well, Taylor always challenges me. It's not fair. Now, Tristan and Ali were having a huge laugh this morning, saying that it's going to be couples drives today, because, as you know, Tristan and Ali are in a relationship. And then they said, well, Taylor and I should be the other couple for the afternoon. Not that Taylor and I are in a relationship, but nonetheless, Taylor drew the short straw. Taylor drew the short straw, and she has to be my partner for the couples drive. She didn't want to. So Taylor, couples don't challenge each other like this. I mean, it's just wrong. Well, let's see what we can find. Look, if either one of us finds a chameleon now, I will be very, very impressed, because with it being winter, they're not as active. But the owls are, so maybe we find another owl. But I don't know. I really don't know about a chameleon. Alright, well, let's head to to the other half of this couple this afternoon, Taylor, and see what she's going to find with the spotlight.
Stop it, Byron. You're being ridiculous now. Ali and Tristan causing absolute nonsense here. No, I can't say that to Byron. I was going to say he's like a brother to me. Just jokes, Byron. But But yes, camp is interesting. Now, I know you said, Byron, that there are no chameleons out at the moment, but if you sing to them, and Byron's got a lovely voice, we hear him sing often, they'll come out. Now, we hope we're going to find one. Unfortunately, I don't know why, they do not like the silver cluster leaf tree, so I'm not even shining my spotlight on them. I'm just checking the quarries and everything else. I really hope we can find a chameleon just to prove Byron wrong. So, come on, chameleons. Let me find one of just one. I can't even check in the marula trees anymore. That was my sort of go-to spot. Hang on, what's that? What is that? Let's go and investigate. It's probably a dead leaf, but I want to make sure. Here we go. There's a leafelian. You know what I'm looking at, Seb? A leaf million. Let me not shine the spotlight on it too much. But there we go. That's what I saw from the road. It was doing exactly what a chameleon does. It's almost reflecting that greyish white colour. But sadly, not a chameleon. The drongos are on absolute form tonight. Actually, let's have a little listen. You can hear them mimicking the pearl-spotted owlets too. Now, of course, they've stopped. No. Typical. As I said, they're mimicking the pearl-spotted owlets. They stopped doing exactly that. Make me look silly. Come on now, drongos. That's not very nice. Okay, there's a couple more gories we can check over here. Let's go and check them. Wendy the tank. Ooh. An animal you want to find, a nightjar. I would love to find a nightjar. That would be really great to see. We haven't actually been who's that? Who's in there? White-tailed mongoose. Be white-tailed mongoose. Something is in the bushes. Something is in the bushes. I'm scanning. There's definitely something in this thicket. Both Sebastian and I saw eyes. I heard the clicking of Seb's spotlight going on. Should we drive up to it, Sebastian?
Yeah.
We're going to drive up to it. We're going to go investigate it. Let's go. Let's do it. Ready. I'm ready. Oh no, I can see Byron behind me. Creeping in. Okay. Are you ready, Seb? There those eyes again. It's probably a dacre. I bet that's exactly what it is. It was just in there. I did see eyes. Now it's just sunk into the grass. Oh, it is too. Can you see it? If you go straight in where my spotlight is, a little bit further, it's just ducking behind. There we go. You can see movement. It's a dacre. Oh, so sneaky. I got so excited the way that it was sort of standing up and bending down in the grass. I'm not going to spotlight it. It looked exactly like either a genet or even a civet. Oh, I got so excited. I really thought we were going to find a critter of the night, but it seems as though you can't have all the luck in one day. We better save some for tomorrow morning. So we're going to send you across to Biceps Byron to have one last look at the beautiful scenery.
We've got a lovely view of the moon at the moment, and I'm just sitting here because I can hear a few owls around me. There's a scops owl calling off to my right. There's a pearl-spotted owl calling, but they're quite far. But a lovely, lovely view of the moon, something different. Now, it's currently waxing, which means the moon is getting larger. Well, not getting larger. We're starting to see more of the moon, so that crescent will start increasing in size, like that we see. So we'll start seeing more of it. So the waxing moon, we're starting to see more of it, and then eventually we'll have full moon. But isn't that beautiful? Lovely. Now we've also just got a beautiful skyline at the moment. There's a lovely glow just on the horizon and a beautiful silhouette. I wonder if we can have a look at that. That's just really, really... Actually, you know what? Let me put these lights off. That's beautiful. Look at that. Lovely silhouettes to end off a quieter afternoon. We didn't see too much. Taylor luckily had some elephant and hyena. She was lucky with the hyena den. But thank you very much, Taylor, and the French connection, Sebastian. Thank you to Batman with me on the vehicle this afternoon and the ladies in final control. And a big thank you again, as always, to our viewers. We really appreciate your questions and comments. We love hearing from you, and we hope you enjoyed it. And I just noticed that tree looks just like the shape of Africa. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night, everybody, and goodbye.